I can't remember it. Wow. What is it, Owen? What is it?
Ladies and gentlethems.
Gentlethems. Why is that second one so hard for me to like formulate with my mouth?
Gentlethems.
I like the gentlethems. There we go. Hi guys, how you doing?
So good.
Drinking some wine.
What's up?
Pretty good.
Wine.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's Caleb's job.
Red?
All right.
It's red, yeah.
It's red. All right.
nice.
Second question. What type of wine? You will be judged.
Red
wine.
It's 60% Cab Sav.
Okay.
30% Merlot.
Okay.
And 10% Syrah.
I mean, excellent blend. Love it. It's great.
Good stuff.
Thumbs up.
Is this TOS? It's the other.
The other.
Oh.
The other. You have
I like
the whole
it.
bottle with you at your desk. That's how you know he's a real man.
Gonna wrap it up.
No, he's a real man.
What the heck, Alex? No one appreciating my UB40 reference. Fine.
Is
I
that a
talked
reference
to
to something?
Red wine.
Yeah, see?
I knew it, but people were talking. I didn't want to interject. I feel you.
And I had the Earth, Wind, and Fire one last time.
Yeah, I didn't
Y'all
get that one
are
either.
not
That one I missed.
cultured in music, okay?
That one I missed. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, but that one I missed.
Wait.
Well, because I did the entire thing about, it was September 21st. I was like, do you remember the 21st night of September?
See,
and you were like, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. And I was like,
Yeah, that's the problem.
We got it in one.
That's the
Hey,
Remember
everybody, welcome
November.
back to The Forecast, a bi-weekly podcast about everything games, film, and news. I am Aaron Juno.
I'm Alex McCausland.
I'm Caleb Juno.
I'm Chad McCausland.
I'm Jake Fetterkyle.
I'm Owen Patterline. Welcome, everybody of all shapes, sizes, ages, creeds, and genders or non-genders.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's good.
Great intro.
That was
next-
really just off the top.
Next time maybe go
Well,
for
I
you
would
can-
have
you
never
can-
guessed that
wow.
was off the top, Owen. That was
I
so smooth.
Seamless is the word.
I really like it when you have to just do it just off the cuff. I think it feels just
man.
raw and uncut. It's great.
Should we all
Feels natural.
live come up with an intro?
Ooh,
I love
a
it.
different one every episode.
Yeah,
for each
of course,
us.
of course.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Where was I at? Oh yeah, on today's episode number 182, the writer's strike comes to a conclusion after 148 days. Backerkit takes a stance after Kickstarter makes an unpopular choice, and many, many, many video games are unplayable lately. Also, I want more people personally to start cultural appreciation nights, and that's what we're going to talk about in film. We're not talking about other films, so we're going to talk about cultural appreciation night, or as Caleb calls it, cultural appropriation night.
No.
If you'd like to know more about what we do, you can follow us on our social channels. You can check out our website, wearethehorizon.com, where we have a ton of original content for you to browse through, including our multi-arc Starfinder adventure, the Discord and Signal, and hopefully soon some of our one-shots that we've done. Additionally, everything we talk about is in our cast notes, which is pushed out to whatever podcasting app you are using. Let's get into it. All right, time for some Rate That List. I want to start us off. I was really feeling October. I'm like getting prepped. We're going to have our cultural appreciation night, movie night next Friday, which will
Which
be
is October the 13th.
correct.
Friday the
13th.
13th.
Friday the 13th.
But also October the 13th.
Yeah,
But also October the 13th.
Friday the 13th, which is the important part.
Yeah. So I've
think-
been really like,
The
ahead.
last time it was Friday the 13th for Cultural Appreciation Night. See, I almost said it because you said it. We watched a movie that basically no one liked. There was a horror movie that had
That
a
was
lot
your
of
movie.
gore in it.
That
It
was
my movie.
How did you phrase it when we came into that? IMDb says minimal gore or
No,
something like that.
IMDb said most of the gore was off screen.
Oh, that's how it's phrased.
Incorrect.
Definitely not.
It's not.
But maybe,
Yikes.
maybe
Just see someone
dismemberment
get
on screen.
dismembered. Yeah.
you don't want to see what happened off screen then.
That's
Was there
true.
just
Fair point.
was there just a translation issue on the wording there? Like off
Maybe.
screen, they actually meant on screen.
There was like dismembered limbs. There was all sorts of.
It
Yeah.
was wild. There was a lot going on in that show.
Yep. I
Cannibalism.
saw the devil. Pretty good.
Man, weird show.
Pretty good movie,
Weird
though.
show.
Really, really gory. Really scary.
Okay, so rate that list. So, like I said, I've been thinking about October, thinking about horror movies and Halloween and all kinds of stuff. And I really thought, I want to do 2 lists in October that are focused on that. The first one I'm going to do, and I have 3 lists. We can pick from which one we want. But it is a worst Halloween candy list.
Okay.
I have 3 independent lists. One of them is from oozelife.com, which is the top 10 worst Halloween candy of all time. The second one is from womansday.com, which is titled The Worst Halloween Candy of All Time Ranked. And the third one is from House of Dad, which is our definitive ranking of the 10 most garbage Halloween candies.
I think that one.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Gotta go
Honestly,
House
they
of
all
Dad,
sound like
right?
bangers.
It's true.
Okay.
What is Ooze Life?
Ooze
That's
Life.
that's how you know it's good.
What is like the? I don't understand.
Written
Just,
by
like,
oozes
on
for
their-
oozes.
On their header bar, it just says their logo, of course, and then shop, and then batteries and vapes. They
look
lost
at
me
that.
already.
Ooze is
I
one of
wanna
the world's
do that
best-selling vape pen batteries.
I'm excited about
Yeah.
the ooze one now.
Maybe we should do that one.
All right, wait, yeah.
We're doing ooze now?
Yeah,
think
Ooze
so.
Life.
Okay.
Yeah, do the ooze.
Oozelife.com's top 10 worst Halloween candy of all time for Rate That List. Here we go. Number 10, Runts.
They're already wrong. They're starting off wrong.
Strong wrong. Wrong strong. You disagree, Chad.
Uh-huh.
I mean, these are like...
There are worse candies than Runs.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
just
I mean,
saying.
we're
Yeah.
top 10.
Runts is in the lower half, though.
2 things that
Is
I
it in
remember
the bottom
about...
10?
Well, I
Can you
guess
think
the
of
question.
10 other ones that are worse?
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
probably.
2 things that I think about with runts. One, whenever you eat them, you dump a crap ton in your hand. You're always sweaty, and so it just literally, they just ooze color everywhere.
Sure.
And 2, I'm pretty sure runts have contributed to more dental work in my mouth than anything else that I have consumed.
The biggest thing against Runts is that they have banana ones.
Yeah,
Get those
that always
out.
struck me as a weird
Get
one.
those bananas out of there.
We don't want
least-
those.
The bananas, they look like bananas, right? So they're
They
really
at least
easy
look
to
like
single
bananas.
out.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
It's a big plus.
At number 9, we have Smarties.
Yeah,
Little
Like Smarties. I mean, I
sleeves of chalk.
they're
I need
so
to-
much better than
I need to hear the
guess.
rest before I really judge
yeah,
these
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Okay.
So far, they're
well,
going real bad.
well, we're about to go real strong. Number 8, Raisinets.
See, I think
Is
I would
that
put that at
candy?
10.
Raisinets
That's not
are really
candy.
Get out, Alex.
Out.
Get out of here.
Do you guys just not like raisins? Is that it?
I love raisins.
They're
These are
really
not
creamy.
raisins. These are
not-
raisinets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big difference.
It's not
I like
something you want to
ribs.
get while you're trick or treating, right?
No.
I thought maybe it was the raisins because I have people hate on cinnamon raisin bagels too because of the raisins.
I mean, the other thing is like half the box of Raisinets is only half covered in chocolate. Like you don't even get all the chocolate you're supposed to get. You know, you're supposed to get all of these raisins completely 360 degree coated in chocolate, and half of them,
Well,
nope.
that's because you trick or treated in Kansas and it melted while you were out there. That's
true.
Well, if
That's
you go
true.
to like Virginia or something, it's going to be like a cool temperature.
I will tell you, it is the identical weather pattern here that it is in Virginia.
Yeah.
At number 7, we have very specifically banana Laffy Taffies.
Yeah, that should be 10.
Pick
Those are-
one
That- exactly.
You
flavor.
can't because
I'm
they're
telling
individually
you.
wrapped. You can pick them because they're individually wrapped.
Banana Laffy Tabbies are good.
Can you buy what?
Do you like candy?
Excuse you?
He's a sociopath.
They're
Confirmed.
good.
Oh my god, but you know what though? He's the guy you want to take trick-or-treating because you give him all the crappy candies. And you get
And then
all
you
the
get
Snickers
steal all the
back.
Reese's. Yeah.
He's like, ooh, peanut butter and chocolate, gross. I want more raisins.
I would banana.
I would take Raisinets or Banana Laffy Taffy before Reese's.
Get
Oh my
out.
god, you are disgusting.
I want to go trick or treating with you so badly.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Dream
You
come
are my
true.
guy with you.
At number 6, we have individually wrapped butterscotch candies. And these, by the way, are the ones, if you've seen them, they have literally no label, no markings of any kind. It's just this like semi-transparent
These are the ones you
yellowish
find at,
oranges
Grandma's
wrapper.
house.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Is
Oh,
the
Where
yeah.
did this come from?
Is the argument
mystery.
that's bad just because it's not labeled?
They're lacking in flavor and they have no crunchability. Like if I want a candy and it's going to be like a hard candy, I want to be able to just like
Not all
put it in my mouth for just a little bit so it starts to dissolve and then crunch into something like
You want to break your
liquid
teeth.
in the middle. Yeah, I don't want to break my teeth.
But not all candy's crunchy.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like a lollipop.
Okay,
Is
let me
this-
take it back.
Lollipops aren't
Listen,
Also-
my Laffy Taffy better be crunchy, okay?
Is this similar to like a Werther's original?
Oh,
I
no,
think it's-
this is a step
No.
way down.
Okay, I like
What?
Werther's.
Werther's are fine. This is
Butterscotch.
way worse.
All right, just move on. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
This one's a
about
little
this.
nebulous.
Yeah.
Nebulous. Number 5, we have circus peanuts.
What?
That's
like the
not
big,
candy.
Well,
yeah,
the big
those
like
are not good.
foam ones, right?
These
Yeah.
are candy.
They're obviously
the
foam
foam peanuts.
Oh.
yeah,
Those
not
things.
literal
Ew.
peanuts.
I don't
That
know
would be
that I've
like
ever had
9
one.
for me. The banana Laffy Taffy's 10, and then that's 9. Like,
Yeah, those are gross.
how are you saying Smarties and what runts are worse than that?
Yeah,
Like,
that's wrong.
what's happening here?
But
No,
they
no, no,
are
no.
bad. They should be in the bottom 10.
Yeah, number 1 is
We're
the
going-
worst. Number
No,
10
these-
is the
Oh.
worst.
We're
Yeah,
going
we
least
started
making more
worst.
sense
to most
now.
worst.
These
It's
are the
confusing.
most worstest.
Yes, we're getting more and more
Least
worst.
to worst.
Gotcha.
Yes. Circus peanuts make me think of what are those little birds, little like foamy, squishy
Peeps?
you get at Easter?
Peeps.
Yeah.
You're not talking about real birds. Got it.
Yeah, not real birds.
Blue
Peeps are
jay
better
eagle.
than the peanuts.
Not real
though,
peanuts,
for
not
sure.
real birds.
Are
Yeah.
there even any real birds though? I think all birds are fake.
Wait,
Number
do they
4.
taste? Do they taste like Peeps?
No, but I
I
think
don't
they have the
think
same
so.
texture and consistency.
Aren't they
They're
just
like-
foam?
They're like thicker.
I like
They're
Peeps.
thicker?
Yeah.
Well,
You like
peeps have
Peeps?
sugar on.
I like
Who-
Peeps.
you
Peeps like
don't like
fall
them?
apart in your mouth. They're great.
These
These are
are
like
delicious. What's
Peeps-
not to like?
Peeps are
No.
fine. The
Sugar
peanut thing,
just
I'm
works
pretty
for
sure
for
you just
once.
if you eat styrofoam, I think you can eat the peanut. Like
I
I
do
think
eat
this is
packing
one of the
peanuts.
same.
So
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
sense.
it's
It
like
checks out.
eating a packing peanut. Yeah.
number 4, Tootsie Rolls.
No,
Who
Yeah,
made
yeah,
this list?
yeah.
no way.
Yeah.
Tootsie
Tootsie
Rolls
Rolls
are
shouldn't
not
even be
that
in
bad.
the bottom 10.
They're
yeah,
not
like
they're just lame.
Yeah.
they're not great, but
They're
they're
not the
better
most
than
exciting.
banana Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, the problem is they're intermixed here, right? Like if you think it's going to be like a
All right.
definitive list of the
If-
worst candies, it's like either the worst tasting or the
Listen,
least interesting.
if
those
Tootsie
are
Rolls
two
on
different-
here, but Almond Joy doesn't make it on this list, I'm
Yeah, I'm
suing.
gonna be upset if Almond Joy's not on here.
Well, it's okay. You can be upset because it's not on this list.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Bullshit.
They messed up.
Made by a
Payday on this
coconut
list
lover.
also? It better be.
Not on this list.
Oh my gosh.
Number 3, we have Good and Plenty. If you guys have never had this, these
Oh.
are black licorice wrapped in these
Oh god,
like
he lost
pink
me.
and white shells, and they look like they're going to be like a Tic Tac or maybe like a Mike and
Yeah.
Ike, but then you bite into it and it is
They're
black licorice.
so misleading.
Yes, I hate it.
Weird.
That
hate it.
sounds incredibly unpleasant.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, we have candy pumpkins.
Don't know what that is.
Like candy
It's-
corn?
It's the candy corn except it's the pumpkin format.
If number 1 is candy corn, I'm gonna lose it. You can't
Number
put candy
one.
corn on your plates.
Number 1 is candy corn.
Oh, get out.
You can't just use it twice.
This list is terrible.
They said banana Laffy Taffy and then left it alone. And
Yeah.
they said 2 types of candy corn.
There is only one candy that I've thrown up in my entire life, and it's Almond Joy. And I am so pissed that it's not on this list.
All right, I need a rating for this list.
Candy
One.
corn's pretty garbage.
Bad
A 1 out of
list.
10?
You can't use 2 items on the same list. They're
They're
the
also-
same.
They're back to back. That's the
Yeah.
worst part.
Yeah.
That they really don't like candy corn.
Just make number 1 pumpkin corn and candy corn, or whatever. Candy pumpkin candy corn.
Well, I think this implies that they like the pumpkin one a little bit better.
I suppose.
The pumpkin one is a little bit better for what it's
Is it?
worth.
Weirdly enough,
Yeah.
it does specifically say in here, some say they're even worse than candy corn because they take longer to eat.
Just don't eat them, my guy.
Weird.
I mean, that's
Let's do-
argument can be
Yeah,
made for
but
any
this is
candy
from
you got.
Ooze, right? So they're all high, so they need
Yeah.
something to munch on.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a
Um,
bad list.
So we're going 1 out of
Bad
10?
list.
I'm okay with 1 out of 10. That's a bad list.
It's
Just a
okay.
bad opinion.
Here's what I'll say: candy corn was at least the worst one. I'll give it a 2 out
okay.
of 10.
There are
I mean,
candy
banana
corn
Laffy
has a
Taffy
resurgence.
deserves being 1 over candy corn.
I feel like giving them a 1 out of 10 like says basically this is the worst list we've ever seen. Is this the worst list that we've seen, or like could there be worse? Like should this be like
I
a
think-
2 out of 10? Like is
It
it
looks like
okay?
yes,
Like
this
is
is
it
the
I
worst
think
list
that-
we've seen.
I think other lists can be 1s. I don't think this is like a graduated scale where we have like the majority of our things at like 4 to 6.
But we
We
haven't
put this
had
at
a
a 1.
Chad's saying we haven't had a 1 yet, so this would be the worst we've done.
Out of what we've done, absolutely is the
But I
worst
think
list I've
it
ever had.
is.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
All right, let's
for
do
it
it.
1 out of 10. I did want to point out 2 things on the other 2. House of Dad. Caleb, you'll be upset about this. Number 1, and multiple people might. Number 1 was Whoppers.
Yeah.
I don't like Whoppers at all.
I like Whoppers, but I
They say-
recognize they're not universally loved.
Okay, but does
They
House
say-
of
Should have been on
Dad
this other
have
list.
Almond Joys on their list?
House of Dad does not have Almond Joys. It does have Three Musketeers and
Who are these
Charleston
people?
Chews.
Excuse me?
I
That
don't know
one's
what
a
that one
negative
is.
12 out of 10. Hate it.
They
Three
specifically say
Musketeers is on the worst candies list.
Three
Who doesn't
Musketeers
like
are
Three
not that good.
Musketeers?
I
They're
don't like 'em.
delicious.
They're good.
Jake, I'm gonna give you all of my extra Three Musketeers.
What about
So-
the
I'll
last? You
take
had
that.
3 lists.
Yeah,
What
Woman's
did the
Day.
last?
Woman's Day has a Baby Ruth at number 10. They have Almond
Baby Ruth
Joys,
is my favorite
Good and
candy bar.
Plenty's, Tootsie Rolls,
What?
York Peppermint Patties.
I'll give you a York peppermint pie.
Imp-
No, it's
Unfortunately-
not my favorite. I think Twix is my favorite. It's close though.
Importantly,
Baby
I,
was pretty good.
I do think their number 1 is correct, and that is Necco wafers. Have you guys ever had these?
I don't know what
No.
that is.
They come.
I don't
They
want
look
to,
like a like thinner but round, like almost like the size of a quarter, like a Smartie, except it comes in like a sleeve, and they literally taste like chalk.
These look terrible. I've never
They
eaten
look
this in my
so
life.
bad.
They look
They're
terrible.
awful,
It
man.
looks like the candy that you always get on Valentine's Day, the little hearts.
Yes.
That are just
Oh,
terrible.
yes.
But if you
Oh,
took
yes.
those and you smooshed them flat and
Yeah.
then let them sit out for 200 years.
Well,
100 years.
the recipe was originally invented in 1847, and I think
There it
also
is.
they
Oh,
produced
we're close,
all of the
200.
Necco wafers on planet Earth in
There it
1847.
is. All of them. The first wave of production.
Tim says Necco wafers is the body of Christ. It's what you eat at church.
Oh yeah.
That's good. All right, 1 out of 10. Let's move on to some news. I don't know who wanted to talk specifically about this, but the writer's strike is officially over after 148 days. Big deal. This obviously does not include the actors' strike or the video game actors' strike or voice actors' strike or any of the other strikes that are currently going on with SAG-AFTRA. This is specifically just writers. Does this
Yeah, at
change
least-
anything?
At least we get content written so that when the actor strike is done, we could actually have some stuff going into production. Yeah, I wrote this down. I don't know, it's just interesting that 148 days passed. That's a long time.
It's a long time to
It's a
strike.
long time. And they apparently got a deal that they liked. So they're going for it. So it's claps for them. Good. They need to get paid.
They got a lot of really good changes, pay changes, like minimum number of writers on types of shows changes, stuff like that, to like protect. A lot of that's to like try to protect against AI.
Mm-hmm.
So they can't have 0 writers on a show and just AI generate it. So a lot of changes look really good. I actually have some hesitations and some things I've seen people talk about a bit. The current set contract has an end date of May 1st, 2026.
That's not very long, huh?
Right?
long
And
do they
everything
renew
will
for
be
normally?
I don't know.
Okay.
But everything will be up for review at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some concern that the studios are just like settling for now. They know that the renew date is like not that far away, 3 years. They're just going to be prepping for like this entire time to have a much stronger negotiating like platform in 2026.
Just have a strategist
And they're
team
going to try
for
to
3
like
years.
take, yeah, they're going to try to take a lot of this back, I think.
Yeah.
There is also a concession from the union that they had to settle on, that studios are able to use film and TV scripts that they already own to refine AI tools and to experiment.
That's probably
So there's some concern that over the next 3 years, because how far has AI come in the past just single year? It's
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous. So there's concern that over the next 3 years that they will be putting a lot of effort into that side of things, with previous works that they are allowed to do that with, and they will come back in 2026 with kind of hell to pay. I don't know.
It's definitely concerning. I mean, it kind of leads me into to the next topic, but if you want to continue, I think you said you had multiple things that you're concerning about this.
I think that was pretty much everything. Just like the end date being only 3 years away and their concession on AI.
Didn't somebody say that Adam Conover was one of the main negotiators for
Mm-hmm.
It was a big part,
SAG-AFTRA? Okay. And he's a cool guy. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to bring up actually is kind of on the tail end of that on the AI scene. I don't know if you guys know, but there was a big issue with Kickstarter where there was a Terraforming Mars. I don't know if it's a sequel or if it's like an add-on, but a major component of the artwork was on Kickstarter's platform, and it was AI generated. Exclusively AI generated, not like AI transformed, like somebody had created artwork and then they'd sort of taken more components from that and created new artwork. This was just 100% AI generated. So there was a big issue and outpouring of people who were saying, "Yeah, you need to stop this. You need to make sure that we don't have 100% AI generated content on the platform." And they basically were like, "No, we're okay with it. It's fine. We're not worried about it." Which, big deal. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, Backerkit has now come out and said that they will not allow any 100% generated content on their platform whatsoever. And in fact, anytime somebody uploads a project to Backerkit, it is automatically taken out from web crawlers that would be looking for that data in order to train off of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
That's good.
So does Terraforming Mars meet that 100% AI generated statement? Because like I'm assuming
It's
the art is like only one piece of it, right? Like the whole
it's any
game
one
is
asset.
Any one asset?
Any one asset, yes.
Okay.
So like you can't have a single background that's 100% AI generated on
Interesting.
Backerkit. It has to have a human-centered touch. Like
What
somebody
if-
has to develop something first, and then you can generate on it.
What if I did like a line of red, and then after that stroke of red, I AI generated the rest?
Not 100%.
It's not
99%.
100%. It's like
Yeah, I mean,
9.9.
We did it.
You're probably right. I'm sure that somebody would bring it up. It would have to go to litigation at that point because that's the only way they can determine where the line is at. I think for now they're on opposite sides of a chasm where one of them saying, "Well, we don't care because we know we want more people on our platform. We want more people using our platform. We want more projects to be funded on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're going to allow people to utilize art assets and script assets and video assets and whatever it is from generative AI in order to make sure that they end up on our platform versus somewhere else that somebody's saying we don't want that, like Backerkit."
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I feel like it's absolutely like if you're the people that make Terraforming Mars, you've got a whole team, you've got budget. You're just trying to basically like pre-sell stuff on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can hire artists no problem, and it should totally be required that you do that. But like I also think generative AI stuff allows like incredibly small places to do things that they just wouldn't be able to do.
Sure.
Like if you're like terrible at art, but you have like a cool mechanic idea or gameplay idea, and you can't hire artists to work on your stuff, like maybe you could generate some stuff to go along with your game idea. I don't know.
Business loans, baby.
Or crowdfunding.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the problem with like anything you're talking about digital versus physical in general. Like when you're constructing something, like you're having to buy all the, like I can't just have an AI generate a freaking cabinet for me to put in a camper van.
Not yet.
You know what I mean? Like all that's front funded, but with digital, it's very easy to be like, I don't know, I'll just drag and drop with some stuff that I've had previously or pulled from the internet or whatever.
I feel like this goes back to that commercial of like, would you download a car?
Yes. So Backerkit specifically says in their guidelines, they say content on Backerkit that's solely AI generated or quote lacks a minimum requirement of human input, end quote, may lead to the project being temporarily or permanently denied during the review process. And they have two examples. One of them is restricted AI content for use of an art asset, and it's just a whole bunch of pictures of like birds merged with flowers. And then they have an example of permitted AI tool assistance for image assets, which is a picture of like a biker riding down a road with cars coming the opposite direction, and they've used AI to remove the cars. That's their example of like AI assisted, not AI generated. I don't know.
That's just like faster Photoshop at that point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using it all the time right now. I use a whole bunch of Photoshop's AI features to do
The new
work.
generative fill or whatever, the AI version.
Not that. I use generative background remove, which is an absolutely excellent tool, especially for the work that I do. I don't know. I want to bring this up because I think it's interesting. I'm constantly reading and listening to podcasts about AI and trying to figure out where they're going, like what the next step is for both, like from a actual creation standpoint and then a policy standpoint, because there's a lot of industries that are currently being, like, the table is just flipped because AI is able to do something that we've been unable to accomplish with the level of efficiency that AI can do it with. I think until we really sit down and determine, like, here are the lines, here's the checkpoints that companies like, insert whatever AI company you're using for generative AI needs to meet the requirements of, well, where it's just going to continue to spiral out of control. I mean, Alex, you brought up a second ago, it's like AI in the past year has accelerated at such a fast, crazy, ridiculous pace. In 3 years, at the end of the writer's strike, or at the end of this contract, we will be, light years ahead of where we are at right now, especially if there's no limitations put in place, like policy limitations on how these companies can operate. And, we've talked about this in the past too. It affected Reddit. That's another thing that, web crawlers are using that information essentially for free, which is one of the reasons why API call costs went skyrocketed on a lot of platforms, Reddit being one of them. That's all, again, driven because generative AI is using that as base content with what they're going to, create. I don't know. Lot to unpack. Next note, tabletop. Moving on. We have a one-shot scheduled for October 15th. Alex, tell us about it. Are you excited?
Yeah, I am excited. You're not?
I have to continue to build assets in vMix, and it's really complex. Let's do one-shots, guys. Everybody's picking like 4 to 5 to 6 player campaigns. Alex is like, I want to do 10.
I've really wanted to, like, this one shot in particular has been on my mind for like 3 years now. I read something about it a long time ago and I was like, that sounds so cool. Plus it gets like everybody together for like a big thing. So we're gonna have 9 players plus me running it. So 10 people in total.
I'm so excited for this solely because if you get past, like, I think 5 people inside of a normal D&D campaign, I feel like you're hitting like a limit. Like, I feel like you're getting too many people. Like, I watched the Baldur's Gate voice actors playing D&D together, and that is a DM and 6 people, and that was just too much. I loved it, but like, it was just, obviously it was too many people. So the fact that we're now adding,
felt that too, yeah.
Like, we're doing that same thing, but now we're doing it with 3 more people. I'm so excited to be proven wrong, because I think this is going to be a clusterfuck. I think I'm going to just be like, this is way too many people, but like, I'm excited to see how this game handles that in a way that maybe it's not bad. Maybe it is like awesome that you have 12 people playing at the same time.
The system itself is unknown armies. It's not like really meant for that many people, but this one shot in particular is designed for that many people. So it's a one shot from Greg Stoll's, one of the creators of Unknown Armies, I think, and it's from the book from first edition called One Shots. Really creative name.
Whoa,
good name.
Incredibly creative.
They have 3rd edition now. I'm still tinkering with maybe converting the characters to 3rd edition.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that bad. The system is a percentile dice system. So it is all rolling 2d10s essentially. And I think the reason why
like it's Baldur's Gate.
Well, you'll roll 2d10s and you're going to be wanting to hit under certain target numbers to succeed, or maybe you'll fail, and then there's some other modifications that go along with that. But one of the reasons why it works with 9 people, I think, in this one shot is because there's not really going to be characters that I run as the GM. There's not like NPCs. It's all going to be basically you guys interacting together. and it gets adversarial between the people because the one shot is called Jailbreak, and the setup is essentially there is a old farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. There was a jailbreak at the penitentiary nearby, and there is a storm that rolls in that kind of prevents the people that broke out from moving on, so they take shelter at this farmhouse. And so you have like the people that broke out, their hostages, and the people that own the farmhouse, and they're all kind of interacting in this scenario.
That's cool.
Interesting.
So it should be a lot of fun, I think. It'll be a little bit similar to like a murder mystery party sort of thing, plus like RPG elements and mechanics thrown in. So
Like Fiasco?
Fiasco is like we were making up the story as we went kind of thing. This one at least has like a established story and setting and elements for like, you know, that what goes on in the house and stuff like that. So
Got it.
Stuff that I'll be guiding you all through.
Okay.
We said the 15th, but this is going to be the 14th, actually, right? Got rescheduled a little bit.
Oh, right.
Wow, Alex, your own
All of our notes are wrong.
Yeah,
Jeez.
14th Saturday.
All right, well, come check it out. Saturday the 14th, Unknown Armies, doing a one shot. Very excited about that. I have really enjoyed the last two sessions, so I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about film-related things. We're not talking a lot about films. But Chad, you've been watching some... Is this Chad? This is Chad.
Yeah,
You've been watching some Bleach.
For sure.
Yeah,
Didn't you finish Bleach?
Well, no. They came back out with more Bleach.
Well, there's more Bleach?
Yeah,
Is this like what, like they're doing one of those like final season part 3A?
No.
no,
Not quite
that crazy.
never ending, basically.
they came out, I think it was like 2011 or something like that they stopped making Bleach. And so it was like 10 or so years, maybe like 2013, 2012, somewhere around there. It was like 10 years before they came out with this stuff. And they're basically like, hey, by the way, there was this rest of the manga that we'd never created and we're going to. I jokingly put this in there because we started talking about how we were going to talk about anime instead of film, but Bleach is god tier. If you can make it through the old content and then start watching the new content, they've done such a good job at producing this. And I didn't think Bleach could get better than what happened back in the past, but currently it is basically like the way that they're going about using the characters and just kind of creating the story is basically Attack on Titan style, where it's just like every episode you're like, all right, who's gonna die now? And so it's good. I like that because it's like you're not really tied to the characters anymore. You're just kind of like loose. Like usually you get an anime and you're just like watching it and you're like, all right, that's the main character, that's the side characters, they're obviously not going to die. And every time they get into a position of like, holy crap, this is like jumping the shark, there's no way they can come out of this, they come out of it. And that gets boring after a while. So watching something that, like Attack on Titan, for instance, where everybody's dying around you and it's crazy, and the action and just the cinematics and just the production value is really good. It's just really good stuff. The storytelling's amazing, and yeah, it's I don't think you should start with this season though. I don't think it'll have the same impact. You definitely need to watch all of it if you want to watch Bleach. So
that's a big.
It's a big
ask.
I mean,
366 episodes in the original.
You can skip the fillers.
That's
There's a lot of fillers,
Just
but
a quick 366 episodes.
I think in total, it's like 160 episodes that you'd have to watch. And then you get to the new stuff.
Okay.
There's like websites and stuff, so you can like bleachfiller.com or something like that. You can go
163 filler episodes.
Okay,
so it's like
203 episodes.
203
that you need to watch.
Minor investment.
That's just one episode a day for less than a year. Easy peasy.
Yeah. There you go.
I suppose so.
So let's start a group watch. We'll finish this by the time we're all 50.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not even finish Steins Gate.
Yeah. Can't finish a one-season series, so I don't know about that.
We should watch Steins Gate.
Yeah, I knew
we
you were
didn't
going to say
finish
that.
Gurren Lagann either, did we?
We did finish Gurren Lagann, right?
We finished
Gurren
it without
Finally.
We did
Jake
finish
and
it
Sam, I
without you.
think.
Sorry.
I
What a
see.
good freaking show.
It is good.
Yeah.
Aaron, we eventually like we're talking about it, and Aaron's like, "Oh, I'll just catch up and watch it with you guys." And then he like
Yeah.
binged the first like 2/3 of the show.
Which I want to remind you guys, it was funny because we're like, you're not gonna catch up. We're so far ahead.
Yeah.
And then he got up.
And he just
did
did
it.
it.
Yeah.
What a god.
It's a good
You
freaking
should just
show,
watch
man.
Signs to Get on Your Own,
Aaron-
apparently.
Aaron's like really into trigger stuff, but that's
Yeah,
it.
I
in
love
terms
Love
of
me when
anime.
you guys are watching Kill la Kill.
Oh, well, I think that's going to be my next. Like, because
Oh my god.
yeah.
So
I
good.
told you the first time I watched it, and that dude the teacher runs in the room, and he's like 36 times the size of the students. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
It's
but,
really off-putting.
The first 3
episode,
minutes of that
actually.
show are
Yeah.
so nuts.
but
Dude, I-
at this point, I've gotten
Freaking
used
love
to
Kill la
trigger
Kill.
stuff. So
Mm-hmm. That's like the most normal scene in the whole show, honestly.
I would watch Gurren
We
Lagann
watched,
again. That's like my all-time favorite anime.
Gurren Lagann
We
is
watched
excellent.
Premiere. That was really good.
Premiere's
Makes
excellent.
sense.
Good movie.
Oh, you should test your love of Trigger and watch When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace because it's terrible.
Oh, is it
It's
bad?
really bad.
Oh no, I haven't seen
Because
that one.
I did the exact same thing. I was like, shit, I love everything Trigger makes. They made this show, I'll love it. And then I watched it and was like, wow, unbearable.
Was that when they were like before they were Trigger, when they were like
No,
whatever the
I
old
think
studio
they're
was
listed
called?
as Trigger. Let me double check myself here.
Gynax.
Gynax. Was the
Gynax.
original,
Yeah.
That's
That
who did
is
Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind, because that was excellent. So
Did they do? I know Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress is always like considered
I
similar
don't
to their
think
work. Did they
that's
do
that.
that? Okay.
No, but
Man.
they did do Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Darling in the Franxx, man.
It's really good
It's,
for a while.
The first half is
Yeah.
excellent, and then they made
Yeah.
some more for some reason.
It gets
Yeah.
so
This-
stupid.
Yeah.
it
I
gets
love it.
stupid. Dude, Gurren Lagann gets stupid. When
Yeah.
they're like inside of the
Well-
ship that's inside of the ship that's inside of the ship
It
that's
gets
inside of the
stupid
ship that's
different.
jumping on
It's-
freaking
but also the
solar
same-
systems.
What if this situation, the ship was a girl instead of a ship?
Well, yeah, okay.
It's not good, man.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ending of
She gets real big and becomes a ship.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Yeah.
And then the guy gets inside her.
okay.
And then when
And then
she,
they
when,
get
when,
turned to
when,
stone, and everybody on the planet prays to them, and then they become not stone or something.
Something
when
like
the
that.
guy gets inside her, she goes, "Darling."
Wow.
I mean, that is
Oh
the
my
that is the show
gosh.
where the girls have to sit in a specific orientation,
Yeah, yeah,
and the guys
I've
have to
seen-
sit in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
specific
It's-
orientation.
Man, it's a weird show.
Dual
What's it
piloting
called
situation.
again? Darling in
Darling in the
Darling in the
Franxx.
Franxx.
I feel
with
like
two
I've-
S's.
I feel like I googled just the name, and the first image that
Oh,
comes
boy.
up is them being like in the
Mhm.
cockpit.
That's how they have to sit in the cockpit.
Yeah,
It
There's
is
no
the
other way.
most ridiculous layout.
Yep.
Doggy style mechs, okay? That's just how we do it in the future.
Yeah, like the controls pop out from the, gluteus maximus. Just
Yeah.
gotta use those.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
don't-
worse though. I mean, it's
Oh
anime.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's an understatement.
I do love anime, but I also wanted to bring up, we've been doing this for a couple years now, but we started a while ago when Caleb wanted us to start cultural appropriation movie night.
Mm.
But then as a group, we thought that would be inappropriate. So
Get
we
outta
started
here.
cultural appreciation night. And we've been watching movies for a long time. Most of it
Was this
mostly
my
through,
suggestion? I don't even remember.
I
It's been so
just
long.
like- I like
Okay.
bringing it up that it's yours because you're the one who, misnamed it.
The appropriation part.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, that
actually-
was
Get
all
out of
you.
here.
I didn't want to bring this up because I think this is really both important and really just unique. I don't know a lot of people who spend time watching films in from other countries and in other languages to try and experience what film writing and acting is like in those places and what the culture is like in those places. But I really, really enjoy it. For us, it started out as all right, casual. I think the very first movie we watched was Parasite. It was just a casual movie night. We had Parasite and we ordered in Korean food. No big deal. It has spiraled because at this point, what the movie is, like the culture itself or the country that it's from, is a mystery to everybody who comes to our culture appreciation night. The film
Except
is
for the
picked-
person planning it, obviously.
except for the person planning it. The person planning it is also in charge of cooking dinner from that
Person
culture.
planning a surprise.
yeah.
Yeah.
You have to cook this.
They cook dinner from that culture, and a lot of times we end up with a drink or a cocktail or something that is from that culture as well. So we've really expanded from just getting together for a 2-hour movie to getting together, having dinner, having like a cool drink that's from the region or the culture, and then watching a good, not always good film, but typically really good films.
Good.
If
Yeah,
you're
and also
Caleb,
desserts
they're always
lately.
bad.
Whoa. I may have the worst track record, but they're not all bad.
You have the worst track record by a lot.
No, not a lot.
Tony Erdman,
Tony
I Saw the
That was
Devil?
rough. I Saw the Devil's a good movie, all right. I stand by that.
whatever you say.
We've
Anyway,
been doing
Tony
desserts
Erdman.
also too. Like
we have
lately,
done
so.
also desserts. I did a Dutch baby for the last movie. That was excellent. If you never had a Dutch baby, it's a delicious pancake with powdered sugar. Stop turning your nose up against it, Caleb. Just stop. It's delicious. Anyway,
Tastes like
I want
eggs.
to bring up just like a couple of movies that we watched that I think you guys would appreciate. For those of you who have not watched, you should watch a few of these. I think they're great. We watched Parasite, of course, if you haven't seen that. Excellent film. Obviously won, was that Best Picture?
Best
I think it won
Picture,
Best
baby.
Picture.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's the first and only non-American film to win Best Picture. Yes.
Checks out. I mean, we in America really like giving Best Picture to American films.
Sure do.
And this was an excellent, excellent film. So I guess they had to make an exception.
Yeah.
Wild.
No choice.
We watched Your Name, really good, obviously. Most of us here, we've seen it. The Wave, German film, really, really good about like Nazism, like returning to Germany in like modern day, just because of like the way it makes people feel. It's a very interesting like show about, you know, a high school essentially where they're creating that atmosphere again, and it spirals out of control. It's really good. We watched Roma, which is a really good like black and white film from Mexico. We watched Caleb's movies, Amelie, and
Get out of here. Amelie wasn't even mine. Get out of here.
or not Amelie, Tony Erdman, and I Saw the Devil. Obviously, you know, not great films. Force
I saw that was
Majeure.
good.
If you've never seen Force Majeure, it's a Swedish film. It's really, really good. I mean, any that I'm missing, you guys can think of?
I mean, watch so many, man.
Shadow.
Was it called It's a Wonderful Life or
Not
It's a Wonderful
Life
Life?
is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful? Thank you. Life is Beautiful.
It's a Wonderful Life is a movie, but
Yeah.
it's
Not what I wanted,
that's an American movie.
One thing we
Life
have
is
learned.
Beautiful
Go ahead,
is phenomenal.
Good film. Very good film. One thing we've learned, though, is that a very large percentage of films just introduce Nazis at some point.
They all got Nazis, man. There's so
We had
many
a-
Nazi movies.
We had a run for a while where not even the person that brought the movie knew that Nazis are going to be in it. They just showed up at some point
Yep.
Yeah.
for like a bunch of movies in a row.
Incredible.
If you're asking, you know, what traumatic thing happened globally,
Yep.
Yeah.
you
I mean, it does
know, I
kind of
feel
make
like
sense.
Yeah.
a world war is kind of up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would encourage you to spend a night once a month watching a movie in a different language. I think it's very refreshing and unique, and you know, a lot
Who
of
are you
people don't like
encouraging?
anybody who's listening. Also, you, Chad. You know, if you want to join cultural appreciation every once in a while. Listen, if you have an aversion to not knowing the menu and you want to know that ahead of time, but you know, if there's particular parties in your group of two that want to know the menu ahead of time so that they can prepare to determine whether or not they're going to show up, I'll let you know the menu ahead of time.
But you
it's a
can't
mystery.
watch. You can't watch the
messed
menu.
up.
That's an American movie, Aaron.
The menu is, in fact, an American movie. Yes, you're right.
Nice try. You can't trick me.
Get out of here.
Ray Fiennes. His name is French.
So it counts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is a party within, you know, the group of the two of us that needs to know what food is on the menu.
That's what I figured. Anyway, Culture Appreciation Night, or as Caleb calls it, Cultural Appropriation Night.
Get out of here.
Put one on yourself. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy it. Okay, let's move on to some video game related topics. One thing I wanted to start this out with, which is a Game of the Year factoid. I was reading an article today, and I just think it's incredibly unique. The title of the article, and this is, by the way, about a Game of the Year submission, I'm sure from multiple of us, which is, well, I won't tell you yet. I'm gonna just read the title first. This is the title of the article. The number of concurrent players of Redfall on Steam has dropped so low that it now reaches single figures every day, and that has been the case since September 22nd.
When did it come out?
That's hilarious. That's
Wait,
so
hold on.
funny.
Back up. So
Earlier this year.
Redfall
Midsummer
was a game
sometime,
of the year.
I don't know why it had any players on Steam because it was on Game Pass, and I don't know who would willingly like pay extra money for that game.
People
It's
who don't know.
what I
about Game
will
Pass.
say in its defense. It's an arcane game,
Yeah.
and when it came
Yeah.
out, people didn't know it was going to be dog shit.
So pre-orders.
Probably.
They
I
probably got
mean,
lots of
I
pre-orders.
remember in college, Caleb pre-ordered Thief 4.
Big mistake.
Hated it immediately. Like 2 seconds in was like, huge mistake.
Refunded immediately.
I don't think
I don't think refunds were around then.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was too early. Or at least not as like set in stone as it is now.
Yeah,
Not as well
basically
established.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
I did
Gotcha. Kind of
wanna
like
point out-
Battlefield was guaranteed refund.
Oh man, I wanted to point out a note from this article. Further research via SteamDB shows that the game has in fact hit single figure player count at some point every single day since September 22nd, and at times has dropped so low that they cannot fill a party of 4 in order to play co-op in the game.
Oh man, that means these sad people are playing solo.
Hey, there's 16 in game right now, man.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's what
That's
3
four
parties.
parties.
Yeah.
4 parties. 24-hour
Yeah.
peak of 35.
Wow.
Heck yeah, dude.
We could make it 22.
Let's go. You know what? 24-hour stream. 24 hours of Redfall.
Oh gosh.
I mean, okay, so their all-time peak was 6,124, so that must have been
That
like
is
right when it came
not
out.
a lot.
That's
I mean-
not
Yeah.
a lot at all.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
I could probably do 12 hours of Ring Around the Rosie around barrels from the vampires.
Yeah. 100%. We could do it.
Titanfall 2
Zombies,
currently
baby.
has 4,891 players in it, like right now.
That's not a great argument though, because that one just got like updates and people flocked back to
Yeah,
it.
but it's an old game.
It is so
really
old.
old. It is really old.
I mean, to lose your entire player base, A, before the game comes out, and B, even after the game came out, like, you're now down after, 5 months to single digits, is sad.
They said they were doubling down on Redfall too, right? Like they were committed to.
Yeah, that's
Fixing
the
it
other
and-
thing.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah,
so it's
it'll
gonna be
come out right
Anthem
after
next
Anthem
again.
next.
Yeah.
There it is.
Pete Hines was being interviewed about Starfield, and during the interview, he said, you know, sometimes we have launches that don't go the way that we want. We don't want to just abandon stuff, so we're committed. The company is going to make Redfall, quote, a good game.
Can they make
Give up,
Starfield a good game?
guys. Move
Just
on.
out of curiosity.
Just cut it out. It's over, guys. You biffed it. You biffed it hard. No one wanted it.
Yeah, that's phew, yikes. Big yikes. All right, Chad, let's talk a little bit about Hyenas, which I know you're super pumped about.
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
What episode are we? We're on 182, right?
182, yeah.
Episode 180, I brought up that I played the closed beta, and I was like kind of hype about it. Like, what the heck happened within what was that, a month?
2 fortnights.
They closed. They said they came out with a tweet and they said they're canceling production. Like I don't know what it is about the FPSs that I enjoy that just get shut down. Like,
Yeah, you shouldn't have played the beta. You basically killed it.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
That, and I think they listened to the podcast and they've heard your review of Baldur's Gate 3. And originally, when they were making the game, they were like, don't compare us to Baldur's Gate 3. And your reviews of Baldur's Gate 3 are so high that they realize they just can't compete.
right.
Wait, are you the reason we've never had a Titanfall 3? Is this your fault?
Oh my
Probably.
god.
Probably.
Monster.
Yeah, so Hyenas was like a cross between like Borderlands and then like Escape from Tarkov or like any other like BR that you've had, set in space. You basically spawn, and the first thing you do is you go gear up in different various gear rooms. There's AI that you fight. After that, you go crack open a vault while AI comes and attacks you. But like everybody kind of sees on the map that that's happening, so they can attack you or choose not to and attack you later. While you're collecting the gold from the vault, you're trying to reach the 10k kind of limit or like goal. And then after that, you're trying to extract. And all teams are trying to do this. It's like 4 teams, 5 teams, 6 to somewhere around there. Teams of 3, different skills that you have. But yeah, ultimately, I guess they're just there wasn't enough hype around this game, or they didn't even release the game. It's still in beta, and they just said, "Nah, we're canceling it. It's done." So that's great, I guess. It was a great I enjoyed it. Like, there was low grav. There was a character specifically to where they could do low grav everywhere, because there wasn't low grav everywhere. You had to turn it on in specific rooms. There was Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow Tales, etc. for some reason, because like Sega was like partially making this. So like you had those different cosmetics. They were just releasing new heroes. So like in the latest beta that we were playing, there was a guy with like a shotgun, and like I'm sad. I'm sad the Hyenas isn't coming out.
I don't get how they decided to cancel it. Like, it's not out yet.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's wild.
You think they would at least like release and see what kind of traction it had?
I have seen a couple people on their Twitter being like, is this a PR stunt? Like, are they trying to see how much traction this tweet is going to get? Because it's gotten more reactions and more attention than any other tweet that they've done. So,
wow.
Not a good PR stunt.
Yeah.
I read that supposedly it is the highest budget game Sega's ever done.
Yikes.
And also Neil Blomkamp like wrote for like the story side, the lore side of it, which is weird, but kind of interesting.
Apparently an anonymous developer suggested that there was total lack of direction, and that partway through the creation they had an entire like engine change.
Oh, fun.
I just don't like. I played
There
the
was a
beta.
beta,
It seems
right?
competent.
Yeah.
Like it works. I don't know why you don't just put it out for a little bit to see like what happens.
it felt good. Like, I could see myself actually playing that game for a little bit. Like, I got... It was a character specifically designed for me. Like, literally, the faster you move, the more damage your bullets do. Like, that... I really enjoyed once I grasped the concept of not aiming down sights with her. Like, I was slaying people. And so it was a movement shooter. It was reminding me a little bit, and I think maybe this is why they canceled it. It was reminding me a little bit of Hyperscape.
Uh-huh. They've heard your review
uh,
about Hyperscape on here, and they're like, we'll never live up to that.
So I don't know. They should have released this game. Just let people play it for a little bit. Even like Blood Hunt came out for a little bit, and they canceled production and they just kind of left the servers up. There's nothing else done with the game. You can still play it, but like at least the game's out. Like oh man, it's a letdown.
Must
It
be
seems
just
like-
not worth the maintenance essentially
Maybe.
cost, they think.
It just
That
seems
seems
like
crazy.
shove it out the door, call it an early access, slap a shop on that bad boy.
Oh yeah, dude.
At least get some money, you know what I mean? Like now that it's canceled, it's over, you know? You have a 0% chance of making money off it.
They could have made a little bit. You're right. They could have made a little bit back with the microtransactions.
Yeah,
because it's a
right?
live
Like-
service game, so like that's all it lives for. It's microtransactions. So like,
Yeah,
I would have been stupid enough to probably buy a skin here and there.
Sure.
We all are.
Weird.
That is very strange. That is, it's interesting because there's been a lot of commotion in the video games industry lately, a lot of layoffs and a lot of canceled games. I think this is just part of that. Maybe the industry as a whole kind of tightening up and running lean, I guess, which seems strange for such a strong year for games. But maybe they're looking into the future and thinking, hey, investments are probably going to be possibly a difficulty in the future. We maybe not have as much investments or cash flowing in. So maybe they're just kind of shedding some of the people who are working there. That kind of leads us right into Epic has recently laid off about 16% of their workforce.
Yeah, it's 870 jobs, which is, I mean, kind of terrifying, man. Like, it's a scary time to work in the games industry because, like, if Epic can't keep these
Right.
employees, like, what are we gonna do? You know, well, it's so scary. They're also selling off Bandcamp, which why did they
Sure.
even buy Bandcamp?
I know.
Honestly,
Diversify.
just weird, anyways.
This
but the other
is solely a joke just for me. But the second I saw that they were selling Bandcamp, I was like, God damn, I know someone from SiriusXM is knocking on their door right now, just being like, hey fam, how much? Like, just like rubbing their hands, just like being like, come on, how much
Leaning
you want
from behind
for
a
it?
tree.
Sirius has
like,
the money to be making acquisitions.
fam, in the past 3 years, we bought Pandora, and also, what is it, Stitcher and SoundCloud.
That's nuts.
So, like, I'm sure that they're chomping at the bit to buy Bandcamp too. They're like, let's fucking go. Come on, man.
Yeah, it worked out so well for Epic.
Sometimes
They
I
want a
don't
piece.
understand how companies have money.
Yeah, right?
Like when you think about Sirius, I get it. Like they put it in cars and you get like a month free when you buy a new car. It's like, hey, you got some Sirius XM. But I have never paid for it. I've never even heard like a route to being able to. I don't get ads for Sirius XM. Maybe they get money from all the other stuff that they've bought. I don't know.
I mean, you listen to one of the shows that I've worked on and we own. And so every time you listen to that show, all of the ad revenue and everything is going to us, baby. Like,
yeah, they have to be like mad diversified at this point outside of just the subscription radio
They're
service.
essentially just a holdings company at this point. They own a whole bunch of different assets and companies that make them money, but SiriusXM is like, that was our pet project.
yeah,
That was
and like,
the first version of Fortnite.
yeah,
You know,
like
before it was just like World Save the
Fortnite
World.
saved the world.
Yeah, Save the World.
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah, that's a thing.
we just had a thing that was like, hey, we have to like break up from our parent company because like we're apparently getting too big and too monopolizing, so we're like splitting a
parent
bunch
company?
of the it is Liberty Media.
Oh.
And Liberty Media owns Ticketmaster.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, all right,
If
fine.
you are music, we own you. Like other than Spotify, it's pretty much down to the point that like
Heck
Liberty
yeah.
Media owned everything, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of see why they started being like, let's not do this.
Yikes. I saw that they had asked Sweeney about the layoffs, and he was like, well, I mean, it has to be. It is what it is. I'm optimistic about the future of the company, and the spending we were doing not resulting in layoffs, that's just unrealistic. There's no way we would have not ended up here regardless.
Wild, man. Like I don't even have words for it. I don't know. Like no one made you buy Bandcamp. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like why did you do that?
So like
Stop.
on one end of the spectrum, I look at how much I've spent money in Fortnite, and like I'm ashamed about it. But like at the same time, I, for some reason, keep spending money. Anyways, I'm only one person of the millions of players that play that game and spend money. But at the same, I've heard some like they just, for some reason, Epic and Fortnite just all the time are just spending over the means of their budget, just for development, for marketing deals, for
So think
like
about the amount of free games that you get through the Epic
Oh
Store.
my
That's
God,
what I was gonna
right.
say. Stop giving those
Exactly.
away.
Wild.
so like sure, like 16%, like maybe that's finally them be like, we should probably stop this, like we should cut it back.
I don't know.
I don't know
Aw,
that they
fam.
didn't stop. They didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna stop doing it. We're just gonna stop giving away games." They said, "Oh, we're gonna fire like 800 employees."
Yeah.
I think that's.
I
I don't
they
think that
cite,
bodes well.
like poor Fortnite sales is like one of the
Did
reasons.
I had not
Poor-
read that, but
Poor Fortnite sales.
well,
Like,
yeah,
Poor
If we're
than
talking, like,
expected.
Fortnite
peak
is free.
Fortnite.
That's the problem. You're not selling Fortnite.
Well,
If we're talking like peak Fortnite and now, sure, poor Fortnite sales.
yeah,
like they basically survive off of Fortnite money.
honestly,
Like that's
I
like most of their revenue.
I feel like their big thing is that they are trying to make Fortnite like a Roblox, like a metaverse kind of thing. And it's
Yeah.
you could argue it's already there, but I think they're trying to push it more in that direction. And I think similarly with Epic, like the Epic Game Store, I mean, the reason they keep giving games away is because they want that just like easy money. People go to the Epic Game Store, buy 10 games, and they get to scrape just like 10% off the top or whatever their cut is.
Which to
So
them,
I-
it's not much. I mean, it's just having a service that functions. That's it. Like
Mhm.
they're just taking a product, putting it on a shelf, and letting people buy it.
Yeah.
Taking a cut off the top.
I would
Easy money.
definitely say that they're at almost a Roblox. Like they're not at a Roblox status to the point where like Roblox is creating Call of Duty within their system, but Creative 2.0 and like all of what they can do there is just kind of it's just amazing to see like the stuff that they can come up with, and like users can come up with that stuff.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that like 90% of the time that I've been playing Fortnite, I've been in creative mode because like the people around me that I'm playing with want to play creative, which is basically just like private matches and we're just killing each other constantly. I never thought I'd see the day that we would stray away from like just actually playing BR. Like I thought BR was the end all be all, but it's not, and I guess I just gotta adapt to the different ways of playing, and how also them coming out with no build Fortnite is another thing where it's like it's tapped a different market where it's just like at first build was like I don't want to play Fortnite because like I have to learn how to build. It's like, well, you don't now because they've created a game type for your demographic where it's like it's gimmicky items, is very fun. If you don't want to go to Call of Duty's Warzone or like Apex Legends Battle Royale or, name another Battle Royale, go to Fortnite. You'll just have some fun, slamming a grenade down on the ground that shoots you across the map. You can slide. You have different things like ice on your feet to make you go faster. Like it's just some creative, gimmicky items that are just very appealing and fun. And it's all flashy, and like the graphics are never go out of date because it's cartoony. So, it's just one of those things that's like it's going to live on forever.
It very well might. As long as they're like, hey, we need to lay off 16% of our workforce.
Well, they lay off too many people and there's no development on the game.
Correct. The other thing in the sort of games industry we should probably talk about is Unity after their... What?
There's one more thing about Epic that needs to be mentioned.
Go for it.
The story director, Donald Mustard, who has been basically from the start with
Donald
the company.
Mustard?
Donald Mustard.
Is he also a cartoon character? Because he feels like one.
I mean, he could be. He's basically like anytime that I've brought you guys like the narrative of like what creative story Fortnite has been telling, he's been behind it, and he has since I think it was like September 8th stepped down from the company. So he will no longer be with the company as the creative director. So that's just it's the end of an era.
Yeah.
You will no longer hear me talking about, which I mean you haven't for a while now. Talking about the story though.
Yeah. So the other thing in games industry to talk about is Unity after their we'll call it published ridiculous pricing change suggestion model.
Yeah.
After crazy backlash from the community, which resulted in and culminated in a death threat to the CEO of Unity from one of its own employees.
Oh my god.
Excuse me?
Yes.
They're fired now, right?
I'm sure they're fired at this point.
Probably.
I can't imagine they're not. But they had to close the office in I want to say it was their Austin, Texas office because of a credible death threat. And it came from an employee of Unity.
Wild.
Yeah.
Was this employee also a game dev?
I don't know.
Dang, I wish we had more information.
It was San Francisco. It says on September 14th, 2023 at approximately 9:30 a.m., San Francisco police officers assigned to Central Station responded to the unit block of 3rd Street. When officers arrived on scene, they met with a reporting party who informed them that an employee made a threat towards his employee using social media. The reporting party also said the employee works at an out-of-state location for the company, but they had been unable to reach the outside jurisdiction to make a report.
That's 2 days after they announced their changes.
Yikes.
Yeah. Crazy. Since then, we've had a rollback.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, they have basically come back and been like, "Oh no, we didn't. No, we're not gonna do that."
Idiots.
Yeah, so now it's just like you can either pick between a 2.5% revenue share or some different install fee, which like I don't understand at all why they even still have this install fee. Like I don't know who's gonna pick that instead of.
Well, unless you're not reading, like nobody is.
Supposedly, Unity is going to report both to you, and you just pay the lower.
Oh.
I thought the install fee was based on information the developers would already have, so the developers would be self-reporting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my understanding.
That's what
of
they
it.
originally said the process was going to be when they were asked about how they were going to understand how many different installations were done of the runtime environment. They were like, oh, self-reported by the developers.
I just, they must see some way that they're going to make a shit ton of money off that. I don't see it, but maybe there's something to do with mobile, because I've heard mobile is the thing that really drove Unity to make these terrible choices.
God, I hate mobile games.
One of the big things they walked back was that it was supposed to be retroactive for all games currently released via Unity. And now it's only applying to the next long-term support version of Unity.
Mm-hmm. So if you are developing... Sorry. If you're working on current version, as long as you don't upgrade, you don't have to move to this new terms of service.
Yeah,
which
Silksong is saved.
Thank God. We were all scared that game was definitely going to come out.
Well, now it's further delayed because they like paused for a second.
Yeah,
They're like, wait a second.
Already.
Apparently, I didn't even realize this happened, but around the announcement for the first new version, they deleted the old terms of service website they had that kept track of all the different terms of service, and they were just going to move everybody to the new one, even though they specified that you would always use the terms of service for the one that you're developing on.
Did you? I hope I'm not getting this confused with something else, but I think the reason they said that they did that was because nobody was looking at the website. They were like, "Oh, it doesn't get enough views. We're taking it down." And it's like, well,
okay,
yeah,
also,
but once you announce sweeping changes to your terms of service, everyone's going to go to your fucking terms of service website.
Yeah.
And how do you think legally they could get around the whole like, well, they agreed to this terms of service when they created this. They haven't been developing on this game in 2, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. But they're just grandfathered into this new terms of service that they are going to agree to without us ever even asking them.
Yeah.
I don't think that stands up in court.
Were they trying to say that it was like costing them money to host the terms of service? And so not enough people were looking at it, so they were like, "Oh, we got to take it down."
Yeah, waste of money.
It's not clear.
Like, it's just an obvious lie, honestly, is what that is.
That can't have cost them anything.
Yeah,
as long as they're running web server for other stuff.
Genuinely wild. But people seem happier with this, and like, it feels like, it's usable again. Yeah. But I think the issue is now everyone now has gone, what could we use instead of Unity?
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Are we not all thinking that they put out the extreme stuff first, on purpose, and then they like backtracked through? They're like, oh, we get a pat on the back now. Like,
no,
that would be such a dumb strategy.
Because all that really does, all I would think that would accomplish is now everyone gets scared and goes, I need to find a Unity alternative.
I don't know,
right? If it's B2C, if it's business to customer, I feel like you can do that. You can run that ploy, and then get PR from that, and turn that into potential future customers. But we're talking about B2B, where they're directly selling to people who are developing video games and who are actively in development.
Is that not still essentially B2C, though?
It is not. It is very different, because they have to look at the longevity, like the long-term repercussions of making this adjustment. And so they're going to have to take a step back and go, we literally can't afford this as a business.
I feel like this could be something where they released an extreme. They were like, listen, everybody's going to hate us taking revenue off of installs. They're going to hate having to pay more than what they've already had. So what we should do is we should release something that is so extreme that we're going to get tons of backlash, tons of negative PR, and then we already have this plan in the back seat where it's like, let's reel it back, and then we now are like, all right, everybody's fine with us now. And then sure, they've looked at other people.
They've already moved on though, right? I mean, multiple developers.
I don't think so.
In Chad's reality, maybe they didn't expect it to go so poorly. Like, maybe they expected some backlash, but like severely misjudged how bad it was going to be.
Man,
I'm going to be interested to see how it shakes out. Maybe you're right. I genuinely don't know. It's such a phenomenally dumb decision that I would believe just about any explanation for it.
Because you got to think, people who have spent like 3-5 years of their life developing on Unity, and then they're like, oh crap, we need to find they're not going to find a different develop tool. Like they're already locked in. So like now that they hear like, oh, this is the extreme that we're going to go with, we're going to lose a ton of money, we got to cancel our production. Okay, fine, we'll stick with this now because they've backtracked. We're good to go now.
I suppose, but in that scenario, they weren't going to switch off Unity anyways, you know? Like,
they would have just canceled production, period, and Unity would have lost money to begin with. And
right, sure, but
both,
if you
both
hadn't,
parties would have been out of money.
If they hadn't tried to fuck everyone over, they just would have kept making money from that company, right?
Right, but they could potentially make more off of...
I suppose.
I mean, it's just... It seems too... Like, because Netflix is doing the same thing, where they basically came out with, like, all this password-changing stuff, and they were like, oh, wait, those were leaks. But then, like, eventually they came out with, like, you can, but, like, it's this way and that way, and, like...
See, but again, I feel like that's B2C, because you are not, like, they're not selling to another business whose... purchase of that product.
I view Unity as a B2C because you are there is sometimes one person using Unity, and so you were a customer of Unity developing a game. So like to me, it's the same thing.
For those
is meant for indie developers.
Yeah, for those people, I think I could see that because the Unity personal subscription does not have the fee at all whatsoever now. Like that's one of the things they announced was that the personal subscription would have the fee, and with the new plan, there's no fee whatsoever. So I think on those people, you're probably, I mean, that could make sense because at this point, nothing really changes for them other than, well, actually nothing changed for them because the revenue cap is irrelevant.
Yeah, that is also true. It's only for games that make $1 million per year.
Yeah.
So they're really targeting kind of the top earners. I don't know.
Yeah, just personally in marketing, I see this happen all the time where they go on this one like huge extreme and then they walk it back because of customer feedback or business feedback, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like Unity came out with this. They thought they could make, maybe even like they came out with this because they're like, listen, this is option A. And if we don't experience the negative feedback that we're predicting, we're going to stick with it. But then here's option B where we're reeling it back after option A just turns into a tornado of just chaos, which it did, and then they're back at option B.
To go against that, I did see a developer on Twitter, not a developer, somebody that worked at Unity, talking about how them and like a bunch of other people within Unity fought really hard against the policy that eventually went out. And like they ended up leaving the company because they wouldn't backtrack on it.
Wouldn't that be comparative to like
so
a producing company like Sony, for instance, being like, hey, release this game, and then the developers being like, wait, it's not finished, and then we're in that train of thought where it's like it's not the developer's fault mostly, it's like the suit and ties.
Yeah, like the executives pushed it through where like the layman at Unity was fighting really hard against the new policy, which then tells me that there was no if your thing about like doubling back with like the option A and option B was a thing, then in that case it would have to be only known to like select group of higher up individuals at that point, because like it was not a known quantity to regular people at Unity.
If they did it on purpose, they definitely did not calculate correctly, because the loss of trust alone is going to be very detrimental.
I mean, to me, like,
are you saying like to you, like they don't really have an option to go elsewhere?
Personally,
so the backtracking is
for
like,
instance, if we look at Twitch for a different scenario, right? Everybody's talking about how, oh my gosh, Twitch is doing this. They're stealing money from us. Like, Twitch is a bad platform. Where are they going to go? Like, what are they? There's nowhere to, like, sure, you could try to go to YouTube. Sure, you could try to, but like, there's no real foundation anywhere else but Twitch with the culture of streaming that you're actually going to be able to produce content creation stuff. Yeah, YouTube's good for like your, short form or your video on demands. Unity is your production tool. Like that's the bread and butter. Like that's where else are you going to go? Like I mean,
Unreal,
yeah.
Totally
one of the
different, though,
biggest
right?
things Unity had going for it was it didn't take a share of your revenue. That's why a lot of people picked it. But now it's like, well, shit, if I'm already losing some of my revenue, might as well go for the big boys.
Go for a company that doesn't have a history of suddenly changing their terms of service.
Yeah, maybe.
True.
Got Godot out there.
Yeah. I mean,
Godot?
there's plenty of game engines.
Godot. Yeah,
What?
I got Godot.
You don't like Godot?
No, when I think about Godot, I think about Blender. I can think about the complexity and the lack of because Godot's the production engine or the game engine that is like really dense, right? It's really difficult to actually like parse and understand how to build anything in functionally.
It's the one Wonder
No
Woman
idea.
made, right? Gal?
The gal.
The gal? That's good. It's good.
It's free and open source, I think, but I don't
believe
know how
that's
hard
right.
it is to use. Could
Yeah,
be
Caleb's
difficult.
the expert on making games. He doesn't
Yeah,
like
Caleb,
them.
how
They're
is
so
Go-
easy.
how is Godot?
Get out of here. Never claimed to be an expert.
You just said it was easy.
Didn't say it was easy. Blender?
You just code it, dude.
What's the hard part?
Man, we were talking, I got real distracted by Alex's statement a second ago when he said, in Chad's reality, and then he continued talking, and I just have no idea what he said after that because I thought, think about the weight of the statement you just made, but I didn't want to bring it up at the time.
I was saying in
I know what you meant, but it was
Okay.
just funny the way it just was presented. You were just like, we were having a conversation, you're like, well, in Chad's reality, I guess what we could say is, wow.
The thing is, I only bring up that argument not to say that that's the end all be all and that's what happened. I could see it both ways, though. Like them not having a clue and then doing what they did, or them having the two plans and them coming out, which I think the smarter way of doing it would be what I'm saying, which is basically like a large majority of game developers use Unity. So like, why not use that, philosophy and be like, listen, let's make more money here. Or let's backtrack after we've ruffled some feathers.
That's one way to put it. Ruffled
We've upset a
feathers.
couple people.
Man, I guess we'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe it'll work out for them in a few years' time. They'll just get more money.
We will see.
Yeah.
A couple other things in gaming world. I do want to talk about how Destiny 2 is currently unplayable.
Unplayable. I don't actually know the validity of the statement. I just saw an article and I thought it was funny because it just says Destiny 2 is unplayable. And I was like, wow, it's a good thing I'm not into Destiny 2 right now.
Is this associated with the gun break, where you could mod out different guns to have different?
No, this is just straight up they're being DDoSed and their servers are just not being accessible supposedly. And there's been if you look at the Steam charts, it's just been like a decay of players. And here's the thing. This is me being cynical again. Is it a decay of players, or are they just not producing good quality game? And now that somebody's coming out and they're paying somebody to do an article to where they're like, hey, we're actually being DDoSed. That's why there's no players on our servers. Not the fact that we haven't come out with good content, or we're just reselling you content that's already been there. But no, I haven't really read the article, but Destiny 2 has been unplayable for a week due to DDoS attacks. And you can see some Steam charts. There's very low player numbers. They compare it to Apex, which I think that's kind of comical. But yeah, that's something you can look into.
Okay. Also, CS2.
CS2.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
I looked this up earlier and I was very confused because I'm pretty sure the date says August 2012 because they just don't, I guess they don't change the date even though they changed the title of their game. But they just released CS2. It's used to be CSGO, now it's CS2. There's I think it's on a different source engine.
Source 2.
Yeah,
Probably a good idea.
Source 2. Yeah. The smokes are the thing that everybody's talking about because when you throw a smoke grenade,
in today's age, develop a game on an engine that's over a decade old. That's unheard of, right? No one would do that. No one would do that.
No, I'm just kidding. So the smokes are the thing that's always the thing that I hear talked about, which is basically if you start shooting bullets through the smoke, you can start seeing through the smoke, which is not something that's been done in any game yet. Other than that, I don't really know much about CS2, but yeah, it came out. It came out 9/27. I think it was in beta for a little bit, which was confusing to me because I'm like, why don't you just release it? Like, oh man. Supposedly, they're in the settings of CS2. This is something that actually is kind of wild to me. There used to be a cheat that people could use, which basically moved your reticle to where the spray pattern was, because the spray pattern kind of goes up your screen and then like left, right, you kind of have to, people would learn exactly where the bullet would go, and they would move their mouse accordingly. So they would like pull down, they would pull to the right, pull to the left, they would like learn that. And so it was a cheat for your reticle to follow that, because you no longer had to learn it. You could just kind of allow the screen to tell you, hey, the bullet's going to go up 3 times. It's going to go to the left once. It's going to go to the right twice. It's going to go to the left, very far after that. I don't know if that's actually how it works. I just know playing like Valorant or CSGO, it does have that weird kind of like goes up and then left, right. So you actually have a setting though that you can go into now, and you can your reticle will follow the spray pattern. So it's no longer a cheat. They actually made it, something in the game to use. So newer players, I think, will be able to kind of grasp the concept of recoil patterns and how to shoot a little better. Because, for instance, if you play Call of Duty, you point at a guy with your gun, and if your red dot's on the guy, you're shooting at the guy. You don't really have to move your mouse. You're shooting at the guy. And Valorant and CSGO, as soon as you fire, your bullets will start, like, your gun will go down for some reason, but your bullets will start arcing up. And so it was always something that like threw me off. I couldn't really grasp it. I tried to kind of just point at the ground whenever I shoot, but it'll be an interesting thing to see how that helps, professional players, casual players, and just like the likes. So anyway, CS2's out.
Currently 578,000 people playing
There's
CS2.
always big numbers on CSGO though.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike for like last year or two has been consistently number 1. It used to be Dota.
Yeah, it used to be Dota. Dota's numbers have been down for quite some time. I mean, not like they're still number 2. Still 250,000 people playing Dota.
Dota sucks. Don't mind.
Wow, get out of here.
It's like CS2 is great. Like they've been hitting over 1 million peaks like every day. 1.2 million peak in the 24-hour period here.
It always blows my mind how big that game is. Do any of us play it?
No.
Like ever?
No.
Like,
I played CSGO for like a little bit.
Yeah, for a very short time.
While you
It
were
was
waiting
cool.
for Dota to load? Or...
Yeah, probably.
I downloaded
Whatever, queue times are
CS2
instant
because
for
I
Dota.
kind of want to check it out, but
I told Alex he's gonna play like half a match and then like quit. Like,
yeah,
You will instantly quit, dude.
it's gonna be
There's
one
no
of those things
healer.
where I play it and then get shot from somewhere I didn't see and then get frustrated and uninstall it.
You think the learning curve, the like quality of playership in Dota is difficult? The freaking shelf in CS2, CSGO, CS Counter-Strike Original. I mean, it was just like an instant drop off to like the trash that just tries to jump in and play a couple games.
The amount of people. Go ahead.
I was thinking like CS2 just came out. Maybe there's new people checking it out. Maybe they can matchmake me against noobs.
That's
a
probably true.
million
That's probably
professional
true, yeah.
CS2 players.
Well, there's also a matchmaking to where he could be in the Wood League, so it's fine. Like the thing that always freaks me out about Valorant or CS:GO is I don't mean this derogatory, but the nerds that literally sit there and they'll make guides, they'll make videos about like, all right, what you got to do is you got to go this point on backside. After you do that, you look at this pixel on the wall. Once you look at this pixel on the wall, you move 3 inches to the right. After you move 3 inches to the right, you whip out your smoke grenade. Once you have your smoke grenade, you got to jump. And as at the top of your jump, you throw the smoke grenade and boom. And then they like free cam it over to where they've landed that smoke. It's the most god tier smoke I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I'll never learn. I thought I just had smoke throw it. Like that's the game. But no, it's literally, you got to find pixels. You got to find like things you can wall bounce off. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
Pretty wild.
It's like Rainbow
Not the-
Six Siege, man.
Oh man.
You like
The most
puncture
precise
and you
angles.
just see a pixel move, you just headshot.
Yeah.
There's that
Did you
one
guys ever-
map that has like a small area between the basement and the house itself, all the way around, and people shoot you through that.
Do you guys ever watch the pro
Impossible.
circuit for Siege?
Gotta be so boring.
No.
Oh man, it
I
is
doubt it's boring. It
wild,
sounds
dude.
Fun.
I
I
was
don't
scrolling
understand-
TikTok and saw a guy playing. It said he had 10,000 hours in Siege, and he was legit insane. Like, he wasn't even playing it like I see people normally playing it, where like you set up and like hunker down and wait for your pixel to show up. Like, he was like sprinting around, like, and he would just be. He knew the map so well. He would sprint around, peek a corner, shoot, and like not even know if anybody was going to be there. But like people are usually there, so like. It might kill somebody because he did it so fast.
Is he playing Kavira too? The
I don't know.
She's so
This-
good, man.
man, she's insane.
I have this guy come across for Rainbow Six constantly, and he's doing like 1v5s, and he just
Yeah.
I really like watching pro players in games like that. Games that I wish I could be really talented at. It's like watching people play Dota 2. You know,
Yeah.
professional Dota 2 players. I wish I could play to that tier. There's no way I'll ever be able to do it, but it's just
he
so
reinforced
unique and
the
so
door
cool.
one time, and he just like sat there meleeing the door. And he's like 1, 2, 3. He got up to 8, and he left it, and he like went and did something else. He came back to that door that he reinforced. 1 melee, he was able to get through it, and he shot a guy. I was like, so he just knows that it takes 9
Yeah.
melees to get through that reinforced door.
Amazing. All right, Jake, you have this on the list, but I thought for sure we were banned
boy.
from talking about Overwatch
Yeah, isn't that struck
on this
work?
podcast.
I just had.
That's
I just,
our struck work. Like we have struck it, right?
My girl Sombra's like the only character I still like in Overwatch, and they reworked her. She
Again.
doesn't look as fun, so whatever. It's fine. Basically, so her whole thing was that she had this translocator. She could throw it somewhere, go do something, and then she could teleport back to that spot. And now, instead of doing that, she just throws it and she has to teleport to it immediately. Which I think sounds way worse, way less interesting.
Yeah.
Just to wherever it lands, or is it like a
Unclear.
travel time?
Everything I've heard just says she instantly teleports to it.
Yeah, I don't know what that means either.
I have
Okay.
no idea. She throws it. Does that
Is
mean
this
you
not out
can't
yet?
go in air? They just
Not yet.
released like the breakdown of her new
Got it.
abilities or whatever. Yeah.
Season 7's out like next week, I think.
That could be something in the playtest or something that you could just try real quick and be like,
How-
oh, okay, yeah.
How I'm guessing / how I'm hoping it works is you throw it. If it lands, it teleports you, or you reactivate the ability to teleport while it's midair, maybe.
Midair. Yeah.
So
be
then
cool.
you could still like throw it up and like get up
teleport into
places,
the air. Yeah.
or teleport into the air that way.
That would be a
You just
decent
flick
way
up,
to do
throw
it.
it.
I mean, you can do that with current translocator. It's actually really
Yeah.
nice if you just
Yeah.
need to break LOS for a second.
Yeah.
You're like trying to like retouch a point for like
yeah,
overtime or something.
You touch, you go up. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably fine. I think it makes her playstyle a lot less unique. Which
She's
is
got
something.
a new ability.
Got
Yes.
some kind of dot, right?
Yeah, she has. It's called Virus. It's a skill shot. You throw it at someone. If it hits them, they get a damage over time. If they're hacked, it's a bigger damage over time.
Cool.
I
don't
mean,
know.
It's so
How
boring.
unique.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I ever played her correctly, but like my playstyle with her was always like be in their back line and like be really aggressive because I know for a fact I can
You can
teleport
get out.
out.
Mhm.
But like I don't think you can do that with the updates.
You definitely can. Yeah, it seems like once you're in, which I don't think she's gonna excel at this. Like, it feels like you'll just get in, maybe get a pick, and then probably die because your escape is way worse.
Like she's probably not a widow counter anymore. Like
Yeah, it seems a lot harder to deal with. I don't know, man. I think it's a
Weird.
bummer.
We'll still
I thought
kill
her kit
widows.
was fine.
well the whole
I-
thing
I-
about widow counter is like she would just like show up because she's just
Widow
able
is
to go invisible
usually
and-
in a spot safe enough that I feel like you could assassinate her and then still get out.
that's bad widows.
I guess if your widow's like in the middle of your ball of your team, I don't know if it's a great
Yeah.
widow.
But yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I didn't really have anything else to say about it. I'm just
how it's
disappointed
played.
they're changing my favorite character.
That was
No one's
planned.
playing it anymore, matter. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah, fair.
Well, I mean, you know, to that, I did see that like Owl's getting scrapped, and
Yeah.
so I'm very.
Is it because
intrigued.
Sombra was reborn?
Yeah, everyone loves
Sure.
Sombra so
Specifically,
much.
Everyone loves it so
only.
much. They're
Well, I'm
scrapping
just
the league.
I'm so intrigued on since like you know like Owl very much shaped how Overwatch 1 was played into how they developed Overwatch 2 because like they did it for the Pro League and now there's not a fucking Pro League. Like I'm intrigued to see how you balance a game and what you're doing then when there is no pros that you're balancing the shit for. Like
I mean, honestly, I think there's a decent argument that balancing for the pros is actually detrimental to Overwatch because 90% of your player base isn't the pros.
I mean,
You know what I
think
mean?
yeah, I mean, I think it was detrimental. I think that was a problem. I think that's one of the reasons they jumped from like fucking 6 to 5 and pushed 2 out the door. Like, I think that entire thing was like, well, you did this for a thing that you now no longer support. So, good job, you played yourself.
Yeah.
Didn't
Like,
they say it's like not necessarily dead though?
Sure. Whatever.
I mean, they are shutting down the Overwatch League as it is, and they said that they're going to rebuild the Overwatch esports. But if you killed the entire thing that you've named it all after and was like the big thing, and now you're just gonna quote unquote revitalize it, to what end? How? Like, you literally just killed the thing that had your brand. Like, that to me tells me it's fucking dead. And anything after this point is going to be like, oh, well, you know, we paid some college kids and some, like, god tier pros to play against, you know, Cloud9, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, revitalized is the word that they use. So we'll be focusing on building our vision of a revitalized esports program.
I mean, I think step one is having a game that people actually like and play. And anyone would give a shit about the esports league about.
Overwatch 1.
Tim says
yep.
they're gonna bring back as Owl 2 and they're gonna add PvE.
So excited. Gonna be so good.
Competitive PvE.
Which they definitely won't cancel at the last
Of course not. Of course not.
Yeah.
They'll release Owl 2 without the PvE, but it's gonna come later. It's the thing.
Okay, last but not least, in the video game section, let's talk a little bit about zombies.
Oh boy. Where's Zone 3 plus zombies? This is they had a COD, so COD Next actually live streamed earlier today, 10/5/23.
The fact that there's a COD next. Anyway, go ahead.
I watched some of the footage and they have definitely brought back the movement. So much so that there's actually a perk that when you get shot, you move faster. So they went from Warzone 2, where it was like you're a snail, to hey, people didn't like that. And so that now they're releasing, let's just give them the stims back to where they move faster when they stem. There's slide canceling. You can play it while sprinting. And if you get shot, you move faster if you're using a certain perk. There's another perk where if you go down, you automatically pop a smoke grenade on you, which is, I think is actually kind of cool.
That's cool. That's
yeah,
really
that is
cool.
actually kind of cool. All in all, it looks like good stuff. But man, it is. I think it's just one of those things where it's just like it's gonna lead me to buy it again. Which, I mean, you don't have to buy Warzone 3. Don't get me wrong, but it's gonna make me buy the COD again, and I'm gonna hate myself later. But it just happens every time. Zombies reveal. I to this day do not understand why they don't hire people who know how to play video games to do the
Reveals.
video stuff, because my man was shooting at the ground half the time.
Heck yeah,
But
dude.
it literally looks like an expanded version of the Cold War very large map zombies. I couldn't really tell what was going on, but it didn't have that same vibe of like, let me grab this group of zombies, let me train them, I got this good weapon now. So after I've trained enough of them in a circle, I'm going to turn around, headshot all of them, rinse and repeat. And that's what the good COD Zombies gameplay used to be. It looked like there was like 6 people on the same team. There was like different Overwatch style, like you had to push objectives. I don't know.
Weird.
It was
In
interesting.
zombies, huh?
Yeah. So
I feel like they're really leaning into the story element in zombies. I felt like that in Cold War II. Like they really want to move, because that's what I think one of the things people loved from OG COD Zombies is like the overarching story and the Easter eggs you can do within the games. I mean, don't get me wrong, people love just running circles, but you also love the little things you can do on the maps to kind of progress the story. And I think they really just leaned into that with Cold War. I don't know that they need to keep doing that, but sure.
I think their last great map was Origin, where you just like there was this very large Easter egg on it, and there was a lot of different sections you could go to. But ultimately, you could still you had to train zombies.
Yep.
One thing that I noticed, and I noticed it about Warzone 2, and I think I've made a comment about this before, but there's a lot of visual clutter when you're shooting a gun in the recent CODs. A lot of muzzle flare, a lot of visual recoil that's not actually doing any recoil. So ultimately, if you're playing on a mouse and keyboard, you're at a disadvantage because you don't have that aim assist and you can't see what you're shooting. So it doesn't help you to auto target. While on a controller, it's like it doesn't matter. Like you feel that stickiness and you just kind of strafe left and right, and boom, you've got the kill. I'm hoping that was only with a select few weapons, and it's not all like maybe it's like the different attachments they were using, but ultimately I think it just looks like Warzone 2, and they've just kind of tweaked a couple settings. So I'm sure it's just gonna kind of be it's gonna feel like Warzone 2, but then like move faster. That's probably all it's gonna be. Which ultimately, like I didn't dislike Warzone 2 for a lot of their elements, other than the fact that I just couldn't move. Like if I got shot, I was dead because like
you're freaking snail, dude.
Right. The other people could push you so hard, and then you're sitting there like in a corner, like, please get this played off, please.
Right. It's weird because you're a snail, but also the TTK is just instantaneous.
So quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see really what they implemented in this, and like I don't know, maybe we're past Call of Duty actually being a good. We're way past it, but like we're always hoping that they like come back, you know, and maybe this will be their comeback, because like we thought they were way past it, and they released COD 2019 in Warzone, and I was like, dang, that was good stuff.
That was good stuff. Yeah.
So we're just looking for that. Dang, that's good stuff again, you know.
I think you're gonna buy the game, and that's okay, Chad.
Oh,
I think what you need to do is
it.
you need to go back and you need to play on realism mode, so you can be. You just got to do it. Commit.
I think it was rumored that, and I don't know the validity of this, but I saw somewhere that they're actually transferring camos from Warzone 2 to Warzone 3. Cool. Or rather, Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3. So the Orion that I unlocked, and I spent painstaking hours doing, supposedly is going to be unlocked, and they're just going to release a different mastery camo though. But I'm still going to have my Orion in Modern Warfare 3.
I can appreciate that.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the last section, which is what have you been playing lately? And Caleb, we're going to start with you.
Ooh, me first, huh?
Yes, you first. I'm changing up the order this week. Sorry.
Well, I've been playing this game called Astria Six-Sided Oracles. I played this back at the last PAX and really enjoyed it. It is, unsurprisingly, a roguelike deck builder.
What?
But, surprisingly, the deck is made of dice, which you can also occasionally modify and build in their own way. So it's both a deck builder and a dice builder.
A deck of dice.
It's a deck of dice. You got it. Like you have a deck, and you draw a number of dice for a turn, and then you roll those dice for that turn, and they have different sides on them. And they're
dice have
balanced
different
around.
sides. Interesting.
They're balanced around. There's safe dice, which have all good stuff, but they're like okay good stuff. And there's balanced dice, which has like 4 good sides and 2 bad sides. And the good sides are like slightly better. And there's risky dice that have only 2 good sides, but they're like really good, but there's bad sides. So it's pretty interesting.
I understand those levels, but when I remember playing this at PAX, and one of the difficult parts of me was understanding like whether or not the balance of those types of dice were going to be good to add to my deck of dice. Is that easier to understand now playing the full game? Like, does it become more apparent the longer you play?
getting multiple runs, yeah, it helps you really learn which ones are worthwhile and which ones are not. And it's very dependent on which character you're playing because they all have different abilities, and it depends on which one kind of synergizes with your base abilities and stuff.
Okay. Gotcha.
But there's pluses and minuses because there's things like all the safe dice are kind of boring, right? And they have minor benefits, but a lot of the upgrades will be like all of your safe dice do 1 extra damage, which doesn't help out on all the other dice, but it makes your safe dice a little more, a little more potent.
Yeah,
has a lot of stuff like that.
Cool.
So it's pretty interesting. There's like 6 characters, I think. Excited. There's 5 characters.
Why would there not be 6 characters? Now I'm upset.
It goes into the lore. One of them gets like corrupted or something, so there's only 5 of them.
Let me play the bad boy.
Same reason why there's only 3-player co-ops.
I guess it's just to upset me.
One of the most interesting parts about it, you have a bar on the bottom that's like your corruption meter, and they deal damage to you to corrupt you. And then each bar can have something called a virtue over it, which is a special ability where if you get corrupted that far or farther, it allows you to use that ability for the turn. So sometimes there's strategy to like corrupting yourself with your bad rolls in order to get abilities that you can use to like re-roll dice or to do extra damage to them, stuff like that. So there's like a push and pull to it. It's kind of fun.
Cool.
And I picked up Game Pass because I wanted to try out Starfield. I need to finish Hi-Fi Rush, etc., etc. And then Jake was like, "You gotta play Liza P." Liza P.
How are you gonna skip over a Starfield and not even tell us how you like it?
I haven't played very much of it
because
because I got distracted by Liza P.
Continue.
So I played the demo for Liza P, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's all right." I wasn't super into it, and then Jake was like, "Nah, you gotta actually play it." And I was like, "All right, fine." So I played it, and I was like, "I'm not super into this." And then like a few hours in, I was like, "Okay, this is pretty good." More hours in, I was like, "Oh, this is a really good game, actually." It like grew on me really slowly. It was weird.
Like Pinocchio's nose?
Like
Metaphor.
So it has a lot in common with Bloodborne, which you all know I love. So it has a similar in Bloodborne it's called Rally, where if you took damage you could get it back by attacking really fast. In this, if you block, you take a portion of the damage as health you can get back by attacking for a short period of time.
Health.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So it doesn't have the issue of Dark Souls where you just block forever until your stamina runs out because you're taking health damage the whole time and you need to attack to kind of catch back up. But it has perfect guards, which don't take up any health, but take up a portion of your stamina meter. So there's like a push and pull to it. Like when you always want a perfect block if you can, but if you don't get it off successfully, you can attack really fast to catch back up, which is really fun.
No, I freaking love this game. Sorry, go ahead, Chad.
This is kind of off topic, and I'll let you continue. Did you just say push and pull for 2 different games?
I did.
Continue.
I did. As I was saying the words, I thought I just used this. But okay. Too late.
It only has one comment on games. He likes games where you push and or pull.
Well, the next one's not going to have that, so that's fine.
I push the cat.
To talk a little bit more about Liza P, it has one thing that I thought was really, really clever, which avoids the issue that you run into in all the Dark Souls games where you spec into a specific stat, and then you can only use a quarter of the weapons in the game because you spec'd into that stat. In this, you can combine any blade, essentially, of a weapon with any other handle of a weapon, and the handle kind of determines the move set, and the blade determines how fast or slow or how much damage it does.
The handle also determines its scaling.
Yes,
so
that's the most important part.
A strength handle, you'll have like a great sword and it'll swing like like big overheads, and that means it scales with strength. But you can just take that great sword blade and stick it on a rapier handle, and now it's a whippy little stabbing sword that scales with dex.
A whippy little stabbing sword.
Except for it's like huge still and weird looking.
Yeah, it's big, and your little stabs will be a lot slower than if you just use the rapier blade, but your damage is also going to be way higher. And usually you get a lot more reach.
Cool.
You can make some really goofy combos. There was one that's my favorite. It's like there's a giant spear, and you can put just a tiny like shovel head on it. It's so good. It swings so slow, but it does so much damage even for a dex build. It's great. It doesn't mean you're not locked out of all the cool weapons just because of a choice you made at the start of the game.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It does also let you respec.
Yes.
Although the respec comes way too late, in my opinion.
Classic.
It's past like some of the hardest bosses in the whole fucking game. If you manage to get there, why are you respec? And obviously your build
Okay,
works.
let me ask a question. How many times can you respec?
It's
essentially infinite. Yeah.
It requires a resource, and it's more expensive each time.
Okay.
But it's
But
a
the
resource you
resource-
gain over time.
Yeah, if you just turn on the game, you get like 1 per 10 minutes or something.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
weird.
It
Yeah.
is a weird
It is a
system. I
weird-
don't love it.
Yeah.
But I basically didn't use the currency at all, and I just used it. I sold it. They're each worth $100. So I
Potentially,
just farmed them, sold them, and leveled up with the money.
you could potentially hit a point where you're like, I want to respec, so I'm going to leave this game running overnight, though.
It caps out at 10.
Okay.
So you're not going to go and collect like a bunch. You would need to periodically hop on and get it. It's probably the weirdest system in the game.
It is.
Like it's
for sure.
usually it just means whenever you go back to your main home base to like level up, I usually just run by the tree and grab whatever's there.
Sure.
It's like it's pretty unobtrusive. But if you really wanted to, yeah, you could just like have it up on a side monitor and just farm them out.
It's strange to have a currency linked to like real world time.
Yeah, I don't really know why they did
It is like playtime versus real world time.
Yeah.
If that changes anything. I mean, it's still weird. It's still very weird.
Yeah, I guess it is technically playtime.
It's probably the least important currency in the game. It's not used for leveling up. It's used for respecking and a weird other resource that you can use for like a minor buff.
It's
I
bad.
never used it. I didn't really understand it that well, so I just didn't use it.
What if that's like the best resource in the
I mean,
game?
it's
You just
honestly-
don't know.
It
It's
could be,
not.
I guess. I don't know. I used it once, and it was slow and bad, and I went, well, I'm not using this anymore.
It's slow enough you can't use it in combat unless you get the upgrade that makes it fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is another thing that differentiates it from, like, Dark Souls. There's an actual, like, skill tree. You have to upgrade your P organ.
Yep.
That's what they called it, is P organ. That was the name they chose.
official
No, they
name.
did not.
Yes, it is called,
Yeah, it's called the P organ.
The P
In-game.
organ?
Yeah.
The P organ.
And
dude.
then there's an option under, like, upgrade your P organ to change the shape of your P organ. You can change its
P
shape.
organ.
Guess what happens when you change the shape of your P organ?
Does it get bigger?
It changes your hair. That's
Changes your
what
hairstyle.
Change your P organ.
Change your
I
hairstyle.
mean,
Change
the
your
first
hair.
question is, does the carpet match the drapes?
That's right.
Unclear. You can't go naked in the game. So
The second
the
game
biggest
this year.
downside.
Second game this year that you can change your P organ on. Baldur's Gate 3.
that's good, Alex. That's good.
Jeez.
Excellent. But I cannot overstate how much I enjoyed this game. I did not expect much from it. I really picked it up because it was on Game Pass, and I had heard some positive things. It kicks ass. It is the closest to a FromSoft Souls-like I've played that's not actually made by FromSoft. Like, if you told me they made this because they had a weird idea for Pinocchio, I would 100% believe it.
And
Like, it just
Are-
feels that good.
Is there any builds where you can use his nose as a melee weapon, or did they just not?
I mean,
You know
kind
what?
of, technically.
Kinda. I don't
Really?
we could spoil it.
It's not a huge spoiler, I don't think.
There's like a secret weapon you can get. Basically, you get a portrait at one point in the game. It's a portrait of Pinocchio, and the more you lie, the more the portrait's nose grows. And if you tell enough lies, you can take the nose out and use it as like a staff.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Good.
So
That's
technically,
good.
yes.
That
Wow.
sounds
Even-
cool.
I think my favorite like little factoid about that is they say that it was painted by a Mr. Gray.
Yeah, they do.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god,
That was clever. That was good.
Why
Dorian
is
Gray,
this game
yeah.
smart? Why is the Pinocchio game making a fucking
Smart.
classic literature reference?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And there's
Excellent.
an after credit scene that hints at the next game they're gonna make, and I'm even more excited than for Pinocchio.
Oh,
my
yeah.
god.
I heard the after
Is it
credits scene
Cinderella?
went hard.
Mm. It's not Cinderella.
Not Cinderella.
You'll never guess if we're being honest. You'll never guess.
They started with Pinocchio.
And then they went to
They went somewhere else.
what, Moby Dick?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
I guess we'll have
Moby
to beat it
Dick.
and watch it.
I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
Yeah,
Expandables.
don't.
It's
Moby
yeah,
Dick could
it-
make a
it's
good
Expendables?
Souls-like.
No, the expandables. Like his nose.
Okay.
Like a sea-based Souls-like with like sea monsters, Moby Dick. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
The other game I picked up on Game Pass is Cocoon, which came out a couple days ago. It's most importantly probably the lead designer for Inside and Limbo worked on it. Yeah,
Ooh, I'm gonna
It's
have to
a-
play it.
it's a really good
It's
like
really
3
good.
to 4 hour puzzle game.
yeah.
Okay.
You play as a little moth boy, and you're carrying around these big old orbs on your back, and each orb
Orbs, man.
each orb has a different ability that's used for traversal and for puzzle solving. And each orb is also its own world that if you set it on specific pedestals, you can dive into and solve puzzles inside of it. And so there's a whole lot of like bringing orbs inside of other orbs to solve puzzles and stuff. It's very, very cool.
I promise it's more interesting than Caleb just made it sound.
Bring orbs and putting them inside
Bringing
of other
orbs
orbs.
inside of other orbs.
Sounds
I
like a
don't know.
birthday game.
I play a
That
lot of
sounds
Destiny
lame,
too,
but it's
so
good.
I'm good. Yeah.
It's
It's very Inception-y.
it is very clever. I would say probably the first hour doesn't really do it justice. I was a little disappointed the first hour. I was like, Caleb recommended this? This is a game where I pick up orb, I put orb on button, I solved button puzzle. Good job.
I was worried you'd stop like half an hour in and be
If-
like, this is boring. I don't
If it was if I knew it was longer than 4 hours, if you were like, yeah, it's like this 10-hour puzzle game, I probably wouldn't have played more. But I was like, 4 hours, I can play 4 hours. Even if it's bad, I can play 4 hours. But I'm glad I stuck with it, because it is very, very clever. Probably the last hour is some of the, I guess, most creative puzzles I've played in a game in a very long time. It is what I like is that they are creative, and you need to be like, you need to be kind of thinking outside the box without just being like completely asinine. Like it's not something where I need to like get a pen and paper and write a bunch of shit down or like memorize a bunch of shit. It's just like, oh, what if I do this? What happens if that happens? It's really good, and it has an amazing art style as well, which
it looks gorgeous.
helps, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly, the music as well.
Mm-hmm.
Top
Yeah,
notch.
the music's great.
What else have you been playing, Jake?
So I played those two. Why is the piece so good? The only other thing I played Amnesia the Bunker, also on Game Pass. Amnesia the Bunker is fucking great. Fun fact, this is the only Amnesia game I've ever beaten. Is the Bunker.
Dang.
Oh,
It looked fun.
You need to
Watching
go back to
you play
the
was
Dark
great.
Descent.
I played half
Good
of the
game.
Dark Descent, and then I think I moved for the summer, and the group I was playing it with played it without me, and I was just like, well, whatever. Probably something bad happens down there. I don't know.
This is the shortest Amnesia game for what
It
it's
is,
worth.
by a long shot. I would argue it's too short. I think I would have liked it a little longer. I was really having a good time with it. What's interesting about this game, compared to other Amnesia games, is that it's more... I don't know. You almost go on, like, runs. So kind of the conceit is that you are trapped in a World War I bunker, and you need to go get these items from in the bunker to blow your way out, to kind of explode the exit and leave. So there's one central safe room that you have where you can save the game and you're safe. But everything else is outside of that safe room. So you gotta leave the safe room, go out, get your stuff, and bring it back to the safe room. And all the while, the lights are only on because there's a generator in the safe room. And it runs on gasoline. And you do not have infinite gasoline. So you've gotta load it up with gas, turn it on, run out there, get as much shit as you can while the lights are on, and then make it back to the safe room before the lights go off. Because if the lights go off, you're probably dead. There's a monster down there who likes to eat you, he likes being in the dark, and the only flashlight you have is a little fucking wind-up flashlight that is the loudest thing in the entire universe. It is so goddamn loud.
Yeah.
Winding it up or just it being on?
Both.
Winding it up. Is it loud when it's on too?
Yeah. Not if you have it on the low version, but if you wind it up a few times, it's loud.
Oh man,
Just
I
being
never
on.
dared wind it all the way up. I was way too scared. If it was dark, I was like, I'll just guess where the doors are. I don't know.
amazing.
It's really, really fun though. It has kind of that tension of like going out and being like, oh man, I gotta go, you have to map out your run, go out there, deal with whatever obstacles you didn't know about because you went to a new area, grabbing everything that you can, but you have like a small inventory, so you've got to like juggle, oh, do I bring gas? Or do I bring, these, do I bring a grenade that's gonna help me defeat the monster later if I run into him? Like, what's more important? And then you're out there and you're like, shit, how much longer do I have of the lights? I gotta make it back. And if you run, running's loud, so you gotta fucking walk. Ugh. It's
and
very
the moment
tense
the lights
and very
just
good.
go out, that's good stuff.
Pretty solid.
I only got caught in the dark once. I was very, very careful because I was so scared of being caught in the dark.
Yeah.
Now, is this a game that Alex could play?
No.
Nah.
Too much
If he
player
was streaming
agency?
it, maybe.
If the lights are on, are you totally fine?
No.
No.
Okay.
There's rats.
There are rats.
Well,
The monster can
also
still
is
come
not
out and kill
that
you.
afraid of the light. He just
Yeah.
avoids it when he can.
Yeah, it's not his
Amazing.
favorite, but he will come out to eat you.
Mm-hmm. You're making too much noise. The lights won't stop him.
Yeah. It's very good. Highly
Yeah.
recommended.
I'll go next. I've only played two things, one of which was while I was in DC, I got Gumbrella, and I started playing on my Steam Deck. I understand why both of you said, or at least Caleb said, that you should probably play this with mouse and keyboard. This game's, I understand what it's trying to accomplish. Its control layout is very difficult to utilize with just a controller. Like aiming, I mean, you can generally aim in the right direction, but if you want a precise aim, it's like you got to skip out on some other basic mechanics that you would otherwise be using, like jumping.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You play Claw.
Yeah, I play claw style.
Yeah.
Steam Deck, you can put stuff on the back buttons.
I can't.
That's
I
true.
never use those, man. To me that doesn't exist. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm playing with a normal control.
there are trackpads on that bad boy. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? You need a mouse. Use the track.
Aiming
still
with the
takes
mouse is just always so much better.
I mean, yeah.
Like having it completely independent really is the key. Like being able to aim with the mouse and have it independent of all the other controls. Because
Did
I
you
don't
play
know.
it since getting back?
I have not played it since I got back. No.
Okay.
I want to try it with mouse and keyboard. I got pretty far. I think I made it to the third area. It's really cool game. It's pretty linear. It doesn't feel like it has
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel like the story is too branching. It's kind of just like, all right, go from here to here, have this story about this person, go find Goldilocks or whatever her name is, go to the next thing.
Goldenrod, Aaron. Come on.
Goldenrod, whatever.
Did you find Goldenrod?
I did find Goldenrod. I fought that boss. I thought the boss fight was pretty lame. In the cult's hideout or whatever it's called.
Mm.
I don't know what the other boss fights are like, but that one was pretty like meh. I kind of just stood in one
What that
spot.
one was.
The
And
next
just
one's
anytime
pretty
it-
similar.
Okay, because that's pretty
Yeah.
bad. I literally stood in the corner and then I just popped my umbrella every time they got close and just shot it. Whatever.
Most of the bosses in this game you can kind of cheese in some way.
Okay, it really felt like this one was the case. The visuals are cool. The overworld is neat. The idea is neat. I think I get the Celeste vibe from it for sure. It just doesn't have the complexity of jumping.
Yeah.
But the combat's fun. It's fun. It's very deadly.
It's not really a platformer. It's mostly
No.
an action game.
Mostly an action game. It's cool. I think it's fun to play on. It's a good game for Steam Deck if you're willing to give up on precise aiming, which I have basically given up on. I never precise aim.
I don't use precise aim.
I think it's fine for this game.
I've played the whole thing so far on controller. I think it's fun.
Oh, really? Okay.
Crazy man.
Aaron just needs to get good, I guess. I don't know.
I do
Dang.
need to get
I don't
good.
think you need
I'm
a
not
precise
saying
aim.
it's
so
hard.
much better.
I don't
I'm
think
not
you need
saying
a
it's
precise
hard.
aim like pretty much ever.
I really don't think you do, unless you're aiming like a grenade. But in that case, you're not in the middle of combat and you can precise aim to throw it.
Man, I'm so bad about using anything other than the base weapon in that game.
It's really good. Why would you use anything else?
Yeah.
And
the
def-
other ammunition costs money.
It costs money. That's the other problem. Honestly, I don't even shoot that often. Most of the
Never
time, I'm
use
just running
grenades,
around and
never.
reflecting shots.
Yeah.
Did you guys like this game?
Yeah,
It's
Are you
a lot.
sure?
It's fun.
I thought you
it's
did,
fun.
but
It's
fun.
It is not in game of the year for
Okay.
me. Like it's a cool
No.
game, but it's a fun little like side thing.
okay,
I don't
okay.
know.
I feel like we're review
It's
bombing
a
it
nice
right
little,
now.
nice little
Yeah.
indie title.
Nah.
No, it's fun indie title. The other thing I've been playing was I got the Lamplighters League. It just dropped, I think, on the 3rd or the 4th. I've probably put about 12 hours in this game so far.
Dang.
Yeah. I really get annoyed when I come on this podcast and everything that I've played, you guys have already played, or I'm playing something that you've told me to play. So I'm trying to really play games that you guys have not played yet. And I don't think any of you played Lamplighters League other than the demo.
It's on Xbox Game Pass, so.
Oh, it's on Game Pass. Okay.
I did try it out.
What is it?
Lamplighters League. It's like it's a turn-based. The name of the game is Lamplighters League, and the tower at the end of the world. That's the whole name of the game. Is
that what it's called? I thought it was just the Lamplighters League.
Nope.
Wow.
That's just what it's called on Steam, but the whole name is Lamplighters League and the tower at the end of the world.
Horrible.
It is a merger of like the real-time infiltration of Mutant Year Zero, which I don't think anybody other than maybe me has played on this podcast.
Hey, whoa. That was when we were doing the Humble Bundle run.
Yeah,
you
at
all
least
played
tried it.
All right, you tried it. It's the real-time infiltration where you're like moving between various combat sections within a scene, if that makes sense. It also has turn-based combat when you get into combat, and it has the sort of overworld and tactical strategy of XCOM. So you have like a map of the world, and you're facing off against what's called the Banished Court, which is like 3 different enemies, and you're trying to keep all of them at bay simultaneously, but you can't, like, you can only do so many missions, sort of thing. So, and all that in combination with it looks like it's stylized and it's set like you're Indiana Jones. So all the characters feel like there's some, adjacent character to Indiana Jones. You have like a bull rush or a whip or like some spears that you throw or it's set in that time frame. It's pretty cool. The other thing, so like obviously it's like kind of like normal when you're building out characters. You have 10 unique characters with unique abilities. You kind of build out their skill trees. They all feel pretty unique. There are different like talents, tactics, and weapons that each character uses. So you might have like multiple bruisers, but one of those, and bruisers are like, they're like charge into combat. They do a lot of like in your face sort of stuff, but some of them might be more focused on like a shotgun and rage build, and other of them are focused on like a weighted glove and being like right in your face punching people build. So even though it's like the same class type, a lot of the characters all play very unique. And then on top of that, which wasn't in the demo, is this thing called the Unseen Hand, which is this basically deck of blank playing cards that reveal themselves as you play in the game based on your play style. And so as you go through, you'll find these little like dark orbs essentially throughout the map. And if you collect them, you end up getting the Unseen Hand revealing itself to give you upgrades to your characters. And you can place those cards however you want on whatever character you want, and it'll change their play style. For instance, is like one of the upgrades I got was anytime you shoot an enemy who's blinded, you just have like an enhanced chance for crit. Another one is you get a ranged spear attack that causes enemies to be knocked down. And so it's really great for my person who doesn't carry a weapon. She just has weighted gloves and punches people. Now she has a ranged attack, so if there's fire on the ground, she can throw something from a distance and still do damage. I will say that this game takes probably like 4 to 5 combats to really like open up. Mm-hmm. The first 4 to 5 things you do are very linear. It's like, go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do this. But then at that point, the guy, I can't remember his name.
Steve Lamplighter.
Yeah, Steve Lamplighter. You're basically at his hideout the whole time, and he's the person who's assigning agents to go accomplish things. At some point, he reveals to you that the Banished Court are these 3 people who found the tower at the end of the world, which has this gem at the top, and it's gonna, like, if they get that power, it'll control everything. So he sends you off on various missions to both keep them at bay, because the more power they gain, the more territory they gain, and those territories end up having more enemies, and also the more power that they gain, it starts replacing their enemy units with stronger units. So you have to try and keep all 3 independently at bay while also trying to progress your way through the story, which is basically finding the keys in order to access this tower at the end of the world, and also finding a component for each of these organizations to keep them from being able to beat you to the source. All the while, you're gaining resources, you're gaining new agents, and you're gaining people who are like, essentially helping you. They build weapons, they modify your decks, they give you better healing items, and they all end up showing right back up this place in central location so you can kind of upgrade everything.
Also, I don't think you covered this, but it's worth mentioning the missions they're not just turn-based tactics missions. They start out in a real-time stealth mode.
That's my
you can
kind of Zero reference.
Okay. You can kind of take out isolated enemies before and set up for your first turn of turn-based combat, which is neat.
It is cool. You have a very limited repertoire of like what you can do. You cannot do things in normal combat outside of combat. So I can't just shoot somebody with a gun. But I have abilities I can use outside of combat. So I have like a thief. He has like a sucker punch. Walks up behind somebody who can't see him, sucker punch, they knocks him out. The bruiser has the ability to like charge through up to 3 enemies all at once and knock them out. And then you have like I can't think of what the other guy's called, but basically he throws like this little trap that makes a lot of noise. And the enemies during real-time mode will basically just follow noise, or if they have sightings, or if they see like bodies, they're going to start running around the map scanning for people. So you can throw these little devices on the ground that make a lot of noise, and when they walk up to them, they explode and they'll knock them out. And then you kind of set up, because anytime you walk into a combat, there's like, you have 3 people, and there's like 15 enemies. So you got to figure out, how do I trim off some of the fat from this combat so that I can make it achievable? Knock out a few enemies, drag them away from combat, and then engage with like the 10 or so that are left.
It sounds really cool.
It's really cool. The story is, the voice acting in general, very well done. The story, pretty unique. The 3 factions are very different from one another. They all have unique enemies, unique biomes that you encounter. They do reuse maps, but they will change the assets within the map in order to change the layout. It's not all that often. I think I've seen it twice in maybe the 15 combats I've had, or 15 missions I've had. It's a really good game. I'm very impressed so far, and I think the story is I'm finally getting to the point where I'm getting like more cutscenes and more very like linear pathways to find the point that I need. If I want to go that way, I can still take side missions, but I have like a pathway to go on what's called a heist, essentially, where you have to build up multiple scenarios into like a big mission that you play with 4 players.
So, like heists.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very neat. Recommend for sure.
All right, so voice actors. If we have Baldur's Gate at 10,
this is nowhere near that.
Okay.
Sorry, nothing is Baldur's Gate. Nothing will be Baldur's Gate. It's just on a pedestal of its own. I consider it to be its own thing.
Well, I was gonna say like Baldur's Gate is 10, like
no, Baldur's
Gate to other games, Chad. You know this.
Baldur's Gate. It's like if we're on a scale from like 1 to 10, Baldur's Gate's like a tilde. Like I can't really assign a number.
It's like
you
what's
know?
the
Lower
number?
than 1?
Yeah.
No, it's
Yikes.
still on that scale, but it's not associated with the scale.
But you're like, I think you're succumbing to the gaming industry on not comparing stuff to Baldur's Gate.
You're the one who wanted me to compare it.
Exactly, but like the industry doesn't want you to compare it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Baldur's Gate is out of the norm, and we should not expect it as the new standard for our RPGs. Okay?
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah. Play this game. Play Lamplighters League. It's pretty cool.
Starfield has confirmed we should not expect Baldur's Gate quality for all of our RPGs.
Yeah.
That is
You
true.
haven't even played
That's
that.
like me
I
cooking
played a couple
dinner and being
hours.
like, "Listen, this is not restaurant quality."
I was also gonna say that like the one thing that I think is weird about this game is that the initiation from real time to turn based is not very clear. Not in the sense of like when it starts, but in the sense of what the enemies will do when turn based combat engages. So like if you physically hit the control on your keyboard to change it from real time to turn based, you essentially get one attack. And then from that one attack, the enemies will then disperse to a positioning that is better for them, for lack of better words. But if they find you, they just disperse and then you still get to start combat. So like there are ways to control it. Like you could throw like a knockdown grenade and knock like a group of like 5 enemies down on the ground. And then on their like dispersal, all they can do is stand up so you can still keep them in that spot. But it's very particular like what you can do between real time and turn based. And I think that's like a strange way to approach it, I guess.
My first combat, the Bruiser has a move that hits everyone adjacent to her. My first combat, I like went into turn-based mode, and I had her run up in the middle of all the enemies. And as soon as she stopped, I used that AP, and then all the enemies moved. I was like, wow, now I'm here in the middle of all these enemies who have cover with 1 AP left.
It's a very... I think it's a balance because the other half of the game, you like when you're running around in real-time mode, you can stand what looks like about 30 feet away from an enemy who's staring directly your direction. And as long as you are outside of that circle, they have no freaking clue you're there, man. You can run over the entire map. You're weeds. You're a tree out there that just happens to be moving.
And is it, tell me if I'm way off base here, but it sounds like, you know in XCOM, when an enemy sees you, they just get like a free turn? No, not like that? It's
not like that, no.
Okay.
They just have movement. They do not shoot. They will not shoot you. They just reposition so that they're not like... I think the game doesn't want you to game it out and put them all in the same spot so you can just
then just ambush
waylay them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Gotcha.
It still gives you the ability to like position characters around and get prepped, but it just won't let you like force it into that scenario unless you do something like... And actually, the knockdown grenade doesn't necessarily work unless you immediately follow it up with another attack, because if you knockdown grenade, you don't technically deal any damage, and so the game doesn't send you into turn-based combat.
What?
Yes.
That's
so
weird.
They'll just get up eventually and then go back to what they were doing.
Wow, that's weird. I guess I tripped standing perfectly still.
I guess all of us fell down in this small area.
When something exploded, I don't know. Must have stepped on something. Anyway, I really like this game. You guys should try it out. I
Limiting it that way is a good idea, I think.
I think it is too, because...
Kind of like Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh.
Think about it.
Oh, we can't.
We can't.
You know, like if you're out of combat in Baldur's Gate 3 and then like you initiate combat by shooting somebody, you don't get an action that first round.
I think that's very smart.
I have never started combat in Baldur's Gate 3.
You just end combat in Baldur's Gate.
Exactly, there it is.
But you're Karlak. You should be running at people.
Think what Owen said. I don't start fights. I just end fights.
That's right.
True.
It's very different from Original Sin 2, huh? Where you left out your main damage dealer. That way they could sneak up, kill somebody instantly, and then roll initiative and have it first on the... Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, what have you been playing?
I just want to say I think it's really funny that you tried to bring like this new game to the group and Caleb had already played it.
Okay, Caleb will have always played every game I've ever tried to play.
You played some games.
I'm surprised you didn't kickstart Lamplighters League. You know?
The last podcast, I literally scoured the store to find something that I thought there's no way he would play this, and that's when I found that tower defense game.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any tower defense game, I won't be playing it. You got it.
He's the one person on the podcast that I know that if I found something that I like, they're like our games are in similar veins a lot of the time.
Have you played World of Warcraft, Caleb?
I haven't.
There we go.
But other people have played it. But other people have played it.
Anyway,
something that no one's played. Anyway, Alex.
I have still been digging into Final Fantasy 16. And that game is super rad. I have now added it to my possible GTY list in the document.
Wow.
Means I gotta play it?
Yeah, right?
It's so good, man.
I've heard that game's intro is balls to the wall nuts. Is it?
The intro's pretty nuts. I mean, you can play the intro in the demo.
Oh, okay.
It's like
I don't have a PlayStation.
The demo, I guess. I guess.
I guess we'll be borrowing.
The demo is literally just like the first 2 hours of the game, and then if you buy the game, you can just start from where you were in the demo.
That is nice.
It's very nice. I mean, it continues with like crazy over the top cinematic stuff. I looked up for Jake's reference. There are 11 hours of cinematics in the game, and supposedly, according to How Long to Beat, main storyline's like 35 and a half.
Oh my god, it's almost half.
It's like a third.
So,
come on.
Okay, let me ask this question. How does it compare to Strangers of Paradise?
Much better. What?
Did they kill... Does Chaos die?
Yeah, does Chaos die?
That's a good point. Maybe it's a worse game. I don't know.
Sounds worse. I don't know.
I've... Like, the combat really gets really good. And at this point, I'm juggling 3 different sets of abilities, like, in the middle of combat. So basically, the way the the system works is your left trigger switches what icon abilities you're using because you collect more throughout the game. It's kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but core to
saying you get abilities in the game, I don't think that's a spoiler.
It's
Right,
all
but
story
icon
relevant though,
abilities.
like how you get
But
them.
you didn't
So
say what abilities they are, how you get them even. You just said abilities exist.
yeah. So you pull left trigger and you'll switch to a different icons set of abilities, and you can do that at any point, like mid combo. So you can
That's
do a lot
cool.
of really cool. It kind of has the same feeling to me as like weapon swapping in Devil May Cry or something like that, which makes sense because apparently the Devil May Cry combat guy worked on this game.
Mhm.
So
Did you ever
Yeah.
play 15?
I did not.
Dang. I beat 15, so I was like, how does it compare?
I did not. Well, so 15 is real time also, but for whatever reason, they call this the first real time action game that they've done.
Well, I think you can go into turn-based in 15.
Mhm.
If I'm
weird.
not mistaken, I think you can like pause the combat and like choose different items, choose different abilities. Then you can like go to your companions and choose their ability, if I remember correctly.
Well, the world building and storytelling in the game is getting really good, and I think what's sealed the deal, and when I added it to the list, is like they hit a point in the story where they did a time skip, and I was like, oh, I love this. This is so good.
Just the specifics of it, or do you just like time skips a lot?
The willingness to like just do that in the middle of the game and like advance the state of the world.
So
To
you
be able
literally
to,
you
like-
just like time skips.
You just
I like time skips. I don't know. It's good.
That is
You know-
actually not the answer I expected. All right.
You know what made Naruto way better? When they went to Shippuden and they
Mm.
jumped and made them
Time
all
skips.
teenagers. That's good. Good stuff. Then they kind of fell off when they just did a war for 300 episodes.
Mm.
But,
Didn't you really like House of the Dragon for that exact reason? Because they did like really crazy time skips
like
between.
that show? Yes.
Okay.
She likes time skips.
I like time
didn't
skips,
think
I guess.
that was
I don't know.
the outcome.
You big
But
fan
yeah,
I thought
it's
it
like-
was
Foundation, are
trolling
you?
you.
That is a good point. House of the Dragon, pretty cool. They do a bunch of time skips in that show.
Oh my god.
Get Derek on the podcast to talk about his time skips. He doesn't like them, pro tip.
He doesn't
I
like
see,
time
I see.
skips.
He does not.
Get him out of here.
I don't know. I just think it's like it can add like a lot to a story because you can see effects of how things have played out over a long period of time. So, and normally you just don't get that. Normally it's all immediate and in the present. So,
What a
very cool
champ.
game.
What a man, Chad. That's what a real man would do. Finish that bottle of wine.
And then now we come to War Corner is what I guess I'm going to call it because I have 3 games. I'll start with War.
I haven't seen it on screen the whole time for what it's worth. So I don't know for sure that you haven't been pouring 2 glasses and Caitlin's been running in and stealing
Oh,
one.
she hates red wine.
She could just be dumping it in the sink for you so you look like a real man.
All right, let's revisit how I've been acting on this podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be, equating masculinity with how much you can drink.
Yes,
Seems
yes,
kind
yes,
of
yes.
toxic.
Yes, I don't mean it in that sense. I mean it more in the joking sense of, I don't know, you're over the top. Chadwick.
Tell us about your wars, Alex.
Warhaven. I played this with Chad and Caleb. It is a new free-to-play medieval combat game that's like hero-based. So there's like roles you can pick. There's a healer class, so I like it.
No way.
Yeah, it's like there's like an objective in the middle of the map, and there's like some side objectives too. So like there's like a point that you have to control, and then the map that we played a bunch was like there was a hill with a cannon on it, and you could control the cannon. If you control the cannon, you can shoot it, and it basically like one shots like a lot of people. So that's like serious business. But the cannon doesn't get you any points itself. You have to control the center. So you're kind of like dividing forces and trying to control different parts of the map. Combat is like ability based sort of, but also like melee spam. I didn't really play any of the combat classes is the problem. So I was wondering how you guys thought of that. But I was playing Smoke, who's the healer class. You can shoot like a line of smoke at people and it heals them. And also she has cool abilities like create a smoke clone of yourself that you can teleport to later. And the smoke clone just like walks in a straight line. So you like kind of set it up in advance and then like escape by jumping to it. Also, it does a heal burst in the area that you end up. So just cool stuff like that. And then like the other crux of the combat is you can once per game transform into one of these like legendary beings that has like way over the top power compared to the regular classes.
That has a learning curve to it.
Yeah.
It's basically like turning into a Jedi in Battlefront, but everybody gets to do it
like
once
that
per game.
So at first I assumed you chose the person that you wanted to play and you chose the hero that you wanted to embody when you go into that form. No, you just hit the button of like 1 through 4 or something like that when you want to go into one of those legends, and that's it. That's your one use. And so I was like, how do I become this guy? And then I forget if it's Kayla. I just hit the other buttons. I'm like, what do you mean?
You can just transform into any of those. And they have like different skill sets. So there is like a support one that applies shields to people and can resurrect everybody in an area. That's the one.
What do the other ones do, Alex?
There's a guy with a horse.
Yeah, the guy with the horse is a horrible one to choose on a certain map that I think all actually watch.
Yeah.
There's a sword and shield girl. I don't really know what she does either. I don't know what any of the people that actually fight do, okay? I played the support classes.
I just love... Now we just need to find a game about a healer where they skip forward in time. And that's it. Your favorite game of all time.
I played the assassin chick for a while. I think that was my favorite character after I actually learned, once you go to the how do you use this character page, there's different buttons other than just left click, right click, and then Q and E, which are like the skills. So there was certain ones, like if you're holding block, which is right click, and then you use like Q or use like E, you like dash forward and like strike their feet, which is like really good when people are like blocking against you. There's also different like abilities you can use to like backtrack, or her whole thing is like dodging and like pretty much not getting hit. There's a hammer guy that I tried first, which we ultimately found he was just like the most insane damage dealer on like ever. Like for some reason, his hammer just unlocks you and you just get absolutely clobbered by him and die. Then there's just like a longsword dude, which I didn't really play too much of because he's just too basic, but just longsword attacks, my guy. Like, and I don't know. It was fun. I'd like to play some more.
It was pretty neat.
It's Caleb with the neat word. That's all he said about this game. Anytime I asked him what he thought of it,
It's pretty neat.
it's neat.
It's not a game I would put a lot of time into, but
Sure,
There-
but
it's
like
neat to try out.
Is there like a push and pull to the combat, or...
There is actually, yeah.
Oh, wow, and you didn't like it.
Unless
Yeah.
you're the hammer person.
Yeah, and then it's just push.
It's oops, I'll
Nothing
push.
but push.
it's free to play, so I would have said it would be like a good contender for like 24-hour stream just to like mess around a little bit. But for whatever reason, they limit it to 3-player parties, and then that's it.
Oh,
It's like a
really?
12-on-12
Why?
game. You can only play with
Why?
2 other friends in your party. That's
That's
it.
dumb.
Stupid.
think-
Dumb.
Do you think you could somehow trick it to where you can have like 2 3-player parties, to where you could have like 6 people?
I don't know, man.
Did we miss like a giant outcrying from the video game community where everybody was really upset that there were a bunch of 4-player games made for like forever, and then all of a sudden they were like, all right.
I guess ultimately what ends up happening is you have like a best friend, and then either you introduce another friend to your best friend, or that friend introduce like vice versa. But like then you have that 3-party, and that's all you need. Like you don't get a 4th. That person doesn't introduce you to another friend, so you don't get 4 players. You never get 4 players. So like obviously it's going to be 3 players all the time.
I mean, it's
Makes
not even
sense.
like it's a 3-on-3 game. It's like 12v12 on the map, so I don't understand why they artificially limit it to 3. I guess maybe they have a concern about like organized groups ruining it for smaller groups, because they'll probably just win if like you have 12 people in a voice chat or something. I don't know. You go play like Chivalry or something like that, though. I feel like you can just get like you just go join a lobby with like as many friends as you want.
Yeah.
BattleBit.
As long as there's room to the server. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Weird. Anyway, the other 2 war games I have are shooters. War Stride Challenges is a little neon whitey. It's basically like a speedrun FPS, but without like the visual novel stuff and without
never mind.
without
not
like
interested.
the card system. It's basically just like FPS mechanics. But they set it up the same way that Neon White sets it up, where you have like levels that you play over and over again to get through quickly. You've got your jump that makes you go super fast, you got your slide that makes you go super fast, and you've got like a slow-mo button, and you sprint through these levels. It's actually pretty fun. It feels really good when you master one of those levels and you've achieved like the medal rank, same way you do in White. Yeah, and then Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun is a single player like level based like campaign, but it kind of is that boomer shooter vibe. Like it's the old retro style, like pixelated graphics, that kind of thing, and you don't aim down sights, like that all those tropes of the genre at this point. It's really well made, though. I think it feels really impactful in everything you do. You're playing as one of the big super soldiers from 40k. You're stomping around, like you really feel the weight of your suit. But then in addition to that, you're still like really nimble. You've got like a fast charge move where your suit just like flings you forward and you knock people off ledges or whatever. And you've got this chain sword, and when you activate it, you essentially can teleport. I don't really know how that works in universe or in lore, but it works really well for the gameplay. If you go to chainsword somebody that's like 20 feet away, your character just like magnetizes to them, and you can get like up ledges with it. Like you can use it for all sorts of movement based stuff. And it's been really satisfying so far. It's just really competently made, I think. That's about it.
Chadwick.
So I've been playing a little bit of New World. They actually just came out of expansion on Tuesday? I think it was Tuesday. It's the 3rd. It was the 3rd. Tuesday. Thank you.
You actually got out of the queue?
Yeah, well, I was gonna get into that. Me and a buddy were gonna try to play on Tuesday, and ultimately, for some reason, I have no solution, but also I'm not paid to come up with a solution for this
thing.
But they like came out with this game, and there were absolute abysmal queues because they have like territory control gimmicks in the game, along with like they want you to be on like the same shard, like same layer across the board, to where you can like do open world PvP and stuff like that. Like I understand the limit that they put on the server, but like 3,500 people in a queue when there's only 2,750 people that can play in the game, crazy to me. Ultimately, that's around, I don't know, 2-3 hours of queuing, which is really funny because they actually came out back when the game first was released. They came out with a hotfix that made it to where you can't auto run to stay in the game, and there was a ton of people auto running to try to stay in the game this time.
Of course.
So ultimately, got in the game. I played a tiny bit on Tuesday. Got the mount, which ultimately they told us there was going to be no mounts, but there's mounts. If you jump with the mount, you pretty much go under the map. It's not polished at all. It's crazy. It's like if you jump, you're making yourself run slower than if you would just be on foot. Like it's so bizarre.
Wow.
So basically, just don't hit your spacebar when you're on a mount. After you get in the queue and you actually get through the storyline, which is something I had to Google search to try to figure out how to start, which is another thing that is just like kind of wild, because you would think that, hey, new expansion, let me absolutely point you in that direction on how the frick to get here. No,
You'd
not
think
New
so.
World. You just have to freaking figure that out. And so we guest checked. Nobody really had the answer. even if you ask chat, they didn't tell you because for some reason the community is not helpful at all. So far, I'm review bombing the crap out of this game. But ultimately, I think they've done a lot of good changes. Once the 99 percentile leaves the game because they don't actually want to play it, and the queue times go down, and the people that actually want to play this game will stick around. They got rid of the expertise system, which I think I've talked about, which is a really good change.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah. I basically went from like a 540, 550 gear score to a 600 because of this. So my gear is actually working properly. The new zone is actually quite beautiful. The way I could describe it is an on land under the sea. Like it looks like there's a bunch of coral everywhere. It's just colorful, rainbowy. Essentially it's the nature trying to take back over the land. If you guys know like Poison Ivy's like ultimate goal, which is like get rid of humans and like just repopulate with, you know, all sorts of plant life, that's essentially what this evil villain is trying to do that they've introduced into New World. So we're just in the DC universe, so that's cool. But the ultimately the zone with the different creatures that you're fighting is really cool. They're actually expanding on the mob sets, the different attacks that are coming your direction. Instead of it being the same corpse person attacking you over and over again, a different kind of skins. They've actually added like a gorilla, a weird bird creature. There's a couple wolves. That's all I've seen so far with the couple hours I was able to play today and the 30 seconds I was able to play on Tuesday. I think they're going a good direction. Ultimately, it's a live service game, so I think over the evolution of them creating content and adding stuff to their game, obviously, it will probably be something to look out for when it comes to an MMO. But on release and as of now, shaky. It is shaky. So I haven't seen a new dungeon that they've added, so I'm excited to kind of explore that. Yeah, it's New World. It still plays like New World. They haven't really changed much about like what you guys remember from when you played it either in beta or right on launch. The combat's still kind of the same. Sure, you can queue abilities, which is kind of different than the combat from back in the day, but it's New World. It's, you know, you're still running around. It's run simulator, and it's still a grind. So if you're into that, cool. If you're not, So also been playing a little bit, and I don't know if I can say a little bit of Dota.
A lot of bit of Dota.
A lot of
so
bit of Dota.
good, man.
Man, I don't. The game's got flaws in us that we just can't get them out.
Just played it like a little bit. Now I just want to play it all the time now.
I can't believe that I just saw that one ad about 10 years in Dota, and it's resulted in us putting, I don't even know how many hours in. You guys have put more than me.
Yeah, there's like
I've
this
played
whole
solo games, dude. Without
You play solo games?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't understand how people get into Dota with how toxic the community is, though, man. Like, it is so
it's
bizarre.
So toxic.
I have 39 hours in the past 2 weeks.
I don't understand at this point, for a game that's this developed with this many players, that we have not implemented some sort of like anti-toxicity system. Like
There is,
Overwatch
system.
approach.
There is, right? There's behavior score.
There's the behavior score.
I'm saying let's go like the Overwatch route where we replace text with something else when people make comments.
I know half the people on this podcast won't understand what I'm saying here, but I was silencer and I was using the silencer ult within basically every freaking fight that we were fighting, and I got called out basically with one time that I did the silencer ult because our whatever, I forget what it is, Dawnbreaker was out of position. And I used silence to make sure that nobody could use an ability. The dude died, and you would have thought that I have never used silence at all in that game in a proper fight.
Recency bias has never been more prevalent than when you're playing a game of Dota.
My mind was blown, right? So I then later in the game, Alex, for some reason, got pinged that he either had an ability, had an item, or had like a level. I was like, how do they have a behavior score where they can ping you, Alex?
Because in the new system, you have to have a high behavior score to be able to ping other people's abilities or items. And so that means essentially that person had a behavior score over 10,000, or communication score, I think.
So
One
it's
person
communication
asked
score.
me if I had Parkinson's because I quote unquote did not right click somebody. I was like, what are you talking about? I right clicked the guy. I also used an ability on him. My right click does all of 2 damage.
So the
Like, what do you
behavior
want
source
from me?
system.
I don't know. I understand the Silence game. You also had a Clockwork game.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Am I just a bad player? Is that it?
No,
Like just
no.
boiling it down, like am I just the horrible like just
No.
the first time Clockwork? Like no. I actually if you view my record, Clockwork's one of my most played heroes.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is a fun game.
God, it sounds so
Are you
fun.
sure?
We have a blast when we
It's
play.
so much fun.
There are
It
I
is-
can't explain it. It's
it
so
is the most-
satisfying.
roller coastery game. Like the
Yeah.
highs are so high and the lows are so low, but somehow it just keeps
The
bringing
highs
you.
are like
Like,
the highs are
we
like
had-
kind of high.
get out of here.
The lows are
Shut
like
up. No.
in the dirt.
We had a game. I got to describe this. We had a game where we had somebody pick what's her face.
Oh my, I hate her. Worst character.
Yeah, thank you.
Medusa.
Is it
Medusa,
Viper?
thank you.
Is it Feno?
No, Medusa. We had somebody pick Medusa, and we thought, oh, she's gonna go safe lane. Nope. She picks to go off lane,
No
and
way.
it leaves
Stop, Jay.
two
wild, right?
support characters, Disruptor and CM.
Man,
to
the
play
background
in
you
the
need to
safe lane.
explain to like
Disruptor's-
actually get this to
Disruptor
actually
Crystal
hit
Maiden.
the impact.
Are two of the most supporty support heroes, and we're
Disruptor
supposed
is-
to have a carry in the safe lane at some point. No.
Nope, I'm gonna go off lane. We were all pissed. Chad was like, I'll just disconnect. I don't know, I'll play tomorrow. I'll abandon. We
I
just
was
play
like,
tomorrow.
I'll just alt F4. I'll go play Cyberpunk. Like, it's
And their
fine.
team was like stacked. We're all
Just-
like, there's absolutely no way we could win this game.
There's like 4 cores and 1 minor support. Like, whatever. They were just gonna crush us. Nope. We just mopped the floor with them. It was an excellent
Absolutely
game.
destroyed them. It was so good.
Yeah.
And then there was another
That's-
game that we recently had where I went Trina and I just kept walking at the other team. And I had 30, like at the end of the game, we had like 60, I had like 35 assists.
And you
Usually
were
max,
still
you get like 19, maybe 15. Like
MVP.
35. No, I was not on the board for any type of like mention of like MVP, honorable mention, nothing. I'm like, how, what do I have to do?
It's a garbage tier tree
Well,
ant.
Dia
You have
got a
to
son.
assist in
Like, what is
every single
happening?
kill in the game.
Anyways, that was a good game. That was fun.
it's good.
I had
Been
a
playing that.
game I played with Chad. I sent Aaron a video of the end of it because I was so excited with how it went.
You guys
are
ridiculous.
It was like we were seconds from losing, and I respawned and somehow managed to kill like 4 of them around the Ancient before they could kill the Ancient, and then we pulled it back and won that game. It was so good. So
That's
good.
what does it. Right there. It's those swings, baby.
That
like playing the
dopamine
slot
rush
machine.
from like successfully doing that.
But
Ugh.
that's like 40 minutes of feeling terrible for that one
I don't know,
5
man.
minute.
I gotta play Dota
turnaround.
Turbo.
Honestly, games have not been lasting as long as they used to. Like, I feel like when we used to play, it was like an hour every time we played.
Mm.
Now, most games, I feel like are like...
Not enough
30, 35
people are
minutes.
using the blue chew.
Mm. Mm.
Anyways, moving on. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty came out,
Mm.
and I have played and beat that. Been good.
Wow.
It was good. I do want to say the 2.0 of Cyberpunk, fantastic, all the way up into the point that I found out that my melee / the mod that I was using called Airstrike was crashing my game, which was basically my entire build, which was jumping through the air, throwing a melee at people, or when you use the finisher, you jump through the air, so you also use the critical hit for like on like through the air for that. So like I was like weirded out that I kept crashing, and I'm like, how is this like? And then I started realizing that it was my melee. Then I started Google searching like Cyberpunk 2077 crash melee, and then, yeah, it was the
Provoxy came up, and it's like,
Exactly.
you have Provoxy installed.
so ultimately I think Phantom Liberty is probably I don't know if this is recent bias or what, because I did play through 20 hours of like the base content. Like I restarted my character, played fresh, went through the romance that I went through last time. Did a bunch of side content, and then finally went into Phantom Liberty because it's not an expansion that you play at the end of the game, and it's an expansion that you play like it's towards the end. But there's a certain mission that you hit that Phantom Liberty just seamlessly, like somebody calls you and you're like, oh, let me go do this mission, and then boom, you're just in Phantom Liberty. And it's really cool. There's a new zone that opens up. Somehow it's
Dogtown, right?
Yeah, Dogtown, which is even worse than Night City. Like, I didn't know it could get worse, but man, does it.
When you say worse,
like
like
run down, like
okay.
just beat up, like homeless, like just ultimately corrupt as crap. Like, it's so man, it's bad. But I feel like if you've watched cinematics and stuff, you kind of know that it's more of a spy theme. So you're like kind of like a secret agent under some people that you meet throughout the intro. I won't really spoil too much there. But it's definitely got a different feel to the mercenary, just kind of doing side gigs and then ultimately trying to like find out what's going on with the relic that's in your neck that the original Cyberpunk has. It also, I think, has a really good cast that they put into it. Like, when I heard that Idris Elba was in it, I was like, really? Another celebrity? Like, come on, like, guys, just give me somebody generic so that I can like enjoy this like weird, like out of body, like just I don't need somebody that I know. Like, just, but man, he actually plays his role really well. And yeah, like the other characters that get introduced, I think Mr. Hands was in the original. He's in it as well, and he does a phenomenal job of just like just playing that undercutty guy. The combat is just so fluid now. I ran a intellect cool build, so basically that means like I was doing a lot of stealth and quick hacking, which I avoided in the beginning because I thought like quick hacks were like kind of a cop out. And I went with like my first playthrough when it initially came out was just like a stealthy handgun revolver. So basically, I was just outside of combat constantly with a silencer, and I would just like headshot everybody, and I would never get into combat.
The stealth archer build.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, basically.
Man, I played on very hard, which over and over again, I said, man, am I just playing the unfun mode? Like, I see people just stomping with like the different perks and stuff that they have, and they're playing on normal mode, and they're never done. I would get two tapped, and I would just die. And so maybe essentially I needed to go a body build so I'd have more health. But man, I really wanted to go the hack cool build. I thought the initial like intro was it just blew me away, and then all throughout it was really, really good, and then it got to the ending, and that's where I was like, this is to me the worst ending, like out of all of them.
Wow.
So that was a real ball buster today, because I finally beat it today because I wanted to be able to like kind of talk about it with that like very generically. But like, man, I just feel like they could have done so many different things, and they just let me down so hard with this ending. It is so like, I was depressed when I first beat Cyberpunk 2077. This ending, even more depressing. Like, it's so bad.
So you're talking about specifically the ending to Phantom Liberty? Because it doesn't like, or is it like a new ending to the game?
So when you finish Phantom Liberty, you actually don't go through the rest of Cyberpunk 2077. It has its own kind of finish, its own solution, and its own credits.
Interesting.
So yeah, so it's which a lot of people are kind of upset about, because they were like, I wanted to go through Phantom Liberty because it's kind of in the middle of the game, and then continue down the other path. Which can I ask, who all has actually played and beat Cyberpunk 2077 here? Okay, so there's just Jake.
Owen.
Okay, Owen.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Is that it?
I could talk to you guys about it later if you really want to, but like the other endings. But yeah, they essentially just like cut it short. I think there's like transmission is like 4 missions from the end, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 4 or 5. Transmission is where you get the Phantom Liberty introduction. So like after you do transmission, you go into Phantom Liberty, and there's like 4 or 5 more quests that you have to do to get to the ending of actual 2077. But you go through Phantom Liberty, and you can kind of keep branching back into, which they actually do very seamlessly, where there's a bunch of different quests where you kind of branch into actual Night City, and then come back to Dogtown. Like there's a bunch of really, really cool car missions, which is a kind of their branch into like, hey, there's car combat, steal this car. Oh wow, there's somebody chasing you. So
Sure.
you could like quick hack the cars, quick hack the people inside the cars. You could shoot the guys. A lot of cool stuff there.
You can shoot
there's-
theirs?
Oh, you can shoot the guys. There's actually a mission. Speaking of car combat, there's a mission halfway through the game, even before Phantom Liberty, that the devs actually said, oh wait, we over tweaked this for very hard, where literally if you don't land all 3 shots perfectly, you just die. So I spent forever in that one. Got through it finally because I actually landed all 3 shots. It took me probably 12, 15 attempts of just reloading and like listening to people talk.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
You gotta redo the listening.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
You
no.
like hop into a car and you listen to the guys like, we gotta get out of here. And then you start driving away and the guy's like, oh my God, they're chasing us. And then like you lean out of the car and then you slowly swivel around and then finally you're able to start shooting. You're like,
Yikes.
dude, just let me shoot. The perk system I think is really, really good. They made it to where you're no longer limited on the cyber mods that you use, because in the past, if you chose like the cool or the body or the tech, you could only buy cyber mods for those. But you can actually branch outside, and for instance, like there's a specific cyber mod called like the blood pump or something, where that could like replace your heal. And you basically go into this like adrenaline mode. You heal for 70 health, but then like you get 12 health every like second for 15 seconds. That was a body perk. I wasn't body. I was cool and intelligence, but I was still like using that from time to time because I really enjoyed like the burst in health and then like the overtime health. My play style was definitely just like throwing knives though, where I blinded a lot of people, and flash grenades. The crafting system is also really great. So I started with like this really pitiful flash grenade that only did like 3 seconds of flash, but over the course of me like dismantling a bunch of weapons and stuff like that, I got a lot of pieces that I could put together to just upgrade to the orange version of the flash grenade, to where I had like 9 seconds of them just not being able to see me.
9 seconds.
Yeah, so it's really,
The rest
really
of their
good.
life.
Yeah.
Right. There was, and honestly, on Very Hard, there's only like a couple of missions that I felt like, man, there's just too many enemies coming at me for like, I can't throw my knife fast enough. I can't quick hack fast enough to actually kill these people. Ultimately, like I think that Phantom Liberty is a really, really good addition to their game. And if you are somebody who has not beaten the game, playing through regular 2077 up to transmission, playing Phantom Liberty, not doing the ending, and then going to the regular ending would probably be like the best route for you. So like getting to a specific mission to where like there's like the climax and stuff, and then it tells you like, wait for X person to call you, just like ignore their call and go through the endings, because there's like quote unquote point of no returns that you get to, and you can ultimately choose like multiple endings at that point. And that's how I've done like every single ending of the game. So Phantom Liberty is great. The gigs actually feel like they're alive instead of just being like, hey, go help this person who like lost their money or lost their dog. Like, you actually at one point like have to help this person who was trapped in a BD, and they have this whole different personality, and they think that they're the person that they were embodying in the BD, and you go through this whole thing of like convincing this person that they think they are to go and like help them be like, hey yo, you're not actually this person. And there's just like this whole story that revolves around. There's cutscenes for them. They've done a lot of good. I think it took me. It was 20 hours of vanilla for me to get through all that, and then I think my save file is like 41, so it's like 21 hours of me doing like some side gigs. I still have like a ton of side gigs to do in Phantom Liberty, but the majority of the campaign's done. So it was like I'd say it's around like 15 hours of just straight like campaign content from Phantom Liberty, which is I think is really good.
Side note on Cyberpunk, I did want to say today they announced CD Projekt Red had partnered with anonymous content studios to work on something. They don't know what yet, whether it's going to be a miniseries or a series. But Anonymous was that production studio is the ones who did True Detective and Mr. Robot and The Revenant and Spotlight and like there's a whole bunch of other things. The
Good
EP was
stuff.
part of Game of Thrones, so it'd be really
Okay,
cool
so-
to see Cyberpunk like maybe just another like mini series. I don't need like a full TV show, but I would love to see something in that universe that's live action.
Yeah, I've seen some rumors of live action movie that they might be coming out with. So I don't. That might
Like,
be.
it could be in this realm too.
Right.
I know that CD Projekt Red had partnered with them to do something. They were looking for a screenwriter. I don't like they haven't made it very far, but it could be something we see in the next couple of years.
Cool.
One last thing I wanted to say. Well, actually, I think this twofold for Phantom Liberty is, if you ever looked at the skill tree and you saw how there was like 5 areas that you could go into. I think there was body, intelligence, reflex, cool, intelligence. And they were like perfectly spaced to where there's like 3 on top, 2 on the bottom. And I always predicted, I was like, they did something wrong because there's one more that they should have had because it's spaced perfectly to where there should have been 6, 3 on top, 3 on the bottom. Phantom Liberty does introduce that one, which is kind of cool. I think they kind of threw it in because the things that they added were like, I'm like, none of this fits my build, which is kind of unfortunate. But that's basically like all the points and stuff like you can get. It's nothing to do with attributes. You can get it all within Phantom Liberty. So if you do start playing through it, spend your attributes. Don't worry about it. You'll eventually get a different perk pool for that. And then another thing that they released was Dogtown is essentially cut off from Night City. It's run by like some alpha just military guy. And essentially it's like borders are like patrol, like you have to have a specific pass to get into it. The way they get supplies is like random airdrops. And those random airdrops were so cool because I think one of the problems in Cyberpunk Vanilla was like getting money, upgrading, getting the crafting materials was like so scarce to come by until very late game. But these airdrops gave you so, like, after you fought through like a ton of enemies and like unlocked it with the cool little like weird, like, all right, I have to do 1C to BD to E9 to like, it's, you know, a cool little puzzle that they do. You get so much money, so many crafting materials, and these things just kind of show up everywhere and they have red smoke on it. So you could just go over to like during a mission, you could just be like, oh, I just want to branch over to this and do this real quick. And I think Cyberpunk has always had that like nice, I'm going this direction, but there's like thousands of things that I've just want to branch out to. So that just adds on to that. And the car missions, the drops, like everything just kept pulling me in different directions to where I wasn't finishing the main story. But I was like, man, the podcast's coming up. Even though I can't actually say what's happening, like I want to make a decision on if I like the ending or not.
Yeah.
So moving on to Baldur's Gate 3. This has been a topic of conversation for a couple weeks now. I believe I said last podcast I finished my quote unquote good run, and it was like 100, 140, 150 hours, somewhere around there. I finished my evil run. Kind of.
Jiminy Christmas, dude.
I mean, I knew where everything was, so I was able to kind of go through it. I knew what my team was gonna be like, so I pretty much just like went Paladin, was Dark Urge, broke my oath, went through and just kind of chose what I wanted to choose. You know, basically betrayed the Grove, recruited different allies. It was a lot of fun. It was very cool putting myself in a position of like, I don't usually try to choose evil content, and I don't like choosing evil. Because like even when I was choosing it, I was like, man, this hurts. Like I don't want to do this. But there's a lot of cool content, a lot of cool dialogue that you won't see if you don't do an evil run. So I do have a ton of stuff in Act 3 to go back through, but I wanted to get the tactician achievement to 100% the game. So I kind of like sped run some of the things to get to the end. I actually cheesed the last fight, which I can't spoil how I did that until you guys get there, but it's actually kind of amazing how you can do what you do at the end of the game to get the last achievement. On top of that, we also started a campaign with my parents, Alex and I. And there's a couple key things that I wanted to kind of touch on that's been kind of interesting. One is my mom thinks she sucks because she's quote unquote missing all the time, even though she gets some crit hits here and there. Another thing is we jumped down into the Underdark pretty early. Kind of, I think when you guys did. You guys jumped down after the spider. Which my mother handled the spider excellently, mind you. She actually went through the combat. I didn't hear her squealing or wanting to get away, so that's good. She's definitely afraid of spiders, for those that don't know. And when we got into the Underdark, we got to the Myconoid colony and immediately recruited Glut. Because if you talk to Glut, he asks to join your party to kill the Dwarger. So as we do that, we go on a route that I believe Alex said that you guys did not take, and recently found out this is how you pronounce this word. We killed the Bullet, which is the guy who keeps burrowing into the ground. And after you kill the Bullet, you can use Glut's ability to put spores on him and recruit him to your team.
Wow.
So interesting.
We used the Bullet killed the Dwarger with Glut and the rest of us. He cannot move very well over there. There's not very many positions he can stand. So we actually had to strategically pull back at one point to make the dwarves actually like move towards us because all he could do was acid spray. And then I did post this into the Horizon Discord. We could not loot a certain guy. For some reason jumped on this one pole that like I don't know why he was there. We killed him there and then could not loot him. And so my father and I went across the map, grabbed a bunch of boxes, sent them to Alex, and Alex started building a bridge to try to loot this guy. So ultimately 10 out of 10 game. Great game.
It worked, by the way.
Oh yeah, it
amazing.
worked.
Of course,
Was it
it
worth
did.
the effort to loot on him?
Yeah,
that's
he's
pretty
got
much
some
as
sick
far as
stuff.
we've gotten.
Plus, he's got a quest out on him.
He does have he has the antidote that you need for the gnome. So
Cool.
great game.
Owen.
Huh? Yeah, I played Baldur's Gate. It's great.
More Baldur's Gate.
More Baldur's Gate.
You playing an evil playthrough?
Yeah, I'm doing evil stuff. I'm gonna do another one after that. It's a fun game.
I took some time here while we were talking and looked up. I was trying to figure out if there was a game, just kind of wrapping up here, if there's a game where you play as a time-traveling hero. Or healer, sorry, not hero. Healer, time-traveling healer. And I cannot find one. So I think what's going to have to happen is Caleb's just going to have to make another video game because it's really easy for him. Where you play as a time-traveling healer so that Alex can therefore find
time
his...
travel.
Yeah, it's not
Sorry,
time
skipping. Time skipping.
Skip.
Time skipping.
You need to play as a teenager healer, and then you need to skip to when he's like 80 years old, and he's
And then
still
you're
the
healing.
healer of the party.
Okay, maybe not 80, but like you can go from like adolescence to adulthood or something.
Yeah, 80.
I believe.
Yeah.
That's when adolescence ends. 80.
Mm-hmm.
So, Caleb, what do you think? Like time frame to put this together?
6 weeks.
6
Oh,
weeks.
wow.
All right. All right.
Put you on the clock.
Well, check back in 6 weeks when Alex will have at least tried the demo of Caleb's new time-skipping healer video game.
Are we using Unity?
Wow.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
And check out in a month, we're going to be doing Extra Life.
Actually, we should have done that at the top because there's no way anybody's still listening at 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Shit.
You got to remind me of these things, Owen.
I mean,
Hey,
that's
just
fair.
put that
but
in the intro.
Yeah, I'll put it in the intro. This spot right here, I'll just plug it right into the intro.
Yeah, just tell our editor, hey, editor, put this at the start.
Hey,
We're
editor, cut
we're
out
at
2
3 hours
hours
and
of
3
this entire
minutes.
fucking thing. Just make it a little bit more compact.
I feel like we should have done something before the podcast
Maybe.
or after.
Yeah. All right.
There
All
is
right,
no
check
time
back
after
in
the
6 weeks.
podcast.
Check back in 6 weeks. We will try Caleb's game for Alex. Time skipping healer. There's gonna be a catchy name in 6 weeks. Caleb, you better have one.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
better be good.
Yep.
It better be good. All right. Catch you next time. See ya.